Welcome to the Warm-Up Podcast. I'm Johnny Vaughan.
I'm Gavin Woods.
I'm James Brown.
We had a cracking show today, though I say it myself. Very perky.
It was.
Stacks of energy, a bit too much. I was a bit who fed the puppy today.
We had a little bit too much content, which we're not used to.
Had you been watching your greatest hits on telly or something?
No, I haven't.
You were very...
I tell you what it was, is I listened to TalkSport, Bob Ballard last night on the radio, driving back from my parents. And
Bob was at your parents?
Yeah, Bob was at my parents. Yeah, I was listening to him. He was in the back of the car, in the baby seat.
He's following
in
you.
a giant baby seat I have for him.
Bob's like Malvolio.
He's into that stuff. He's got giant Tonka toys and things like that just to make him feel smaller.
He's got a big chair.
He's got a huge chair, a massive cot. He hasn't at all.
I tell you what, he has got.
What?
He's got more broadcast hours than you have this week.
He certainly has. Everyone has. They only give us 2 hours, and we cram 8 minutes of content into that this week, which you're about to hear the highlights of right now. Good morning, welcome to the warm-up. Happy Christmas to you. In association with Capital One, I'm Johnny Vaughan. On the day when Man City could go top of the Premier League if they beat Crystal Palace. In some papers, Jose Mourinho reported as already handing the title to Man City. I think that's just gamesmanship. And Cardiff owner Vincent Tan is apparently lining up Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to replace Malky Mackay. He's on telly at the moment playing Piggy in the Middle during training with a load of players. And Cardiff's game against Sunderland is live on TalkSport today at 5:30. Should be a very interesting atmosphere down there today. Warming up alongside me, the whistleblower and the man with the definitive word on referees. And what a week he's going to be covering for us. The Woodman's here, ladies and gentlemen. Gavin Woods. Morning, Gav.
Morning, Johnny.
Nice Christmas?
Very nice, thank you. Delicious roast beef.
What's your vibe today, Gav?
My vibe that day was roast beef.
My vibe today is braai-based, hey? The vibe today... We'll have roast beef just now, hey?
Just now.
Gav in his South African home with a braai for Christmas, hey? And also, ladies and gentlemen, he's a entrepreneur. He can't stop lying. Ladies and gentlemen, James Brun.
Morning, James.
Morning.
Morning, James. How are you this morning?
All right? Yeah,
Okay,
great.
lads. You know we've had 2 campaigns we've led so far, which both of which I know you've backed me wholeheartedly on. Getting headphones trapped around foot, which is odd. Sorry. The first campaign was to get the Capital One Cup to Boxing Day.
Yes.
Yeah, we should be able to do that because they sponsor our show.
Yeah,
But I was thinking that on Saturday. I was thinking that on Boxing Day. I was thinking, Johnny's right. This would be great if it was the
perfect day.
Yeah.
Also,
the other is-
it would get a lot of fans out of the house.
Yes, you get down
Down
the
to
pub,
Wembley
It's
or
all
wherever
good.
they had it.
It's all good. You could just move it a little bit, like a 5 o'clock kickoff, so it just starts
Well,
after all. So everyone goes to the pubs after the game, and they've got a final on there as well. So
We talk a lot of rubbish on the show, but that actually is a really good idea.
Hey, it's 2 hours of weapons-grade waffle right here.
It's a chauffeur's dream.
It really is. It's a chauffeur's dream. The other one we've campaigned very successfully for is just to remind people, you imagine now going into a World Cup.
Perfect.
Right now.
Oh,
Perfect.
Flying
halfway-
to Brazil today.
Yeah, well, no, the one in Qatar that's happening. You imagine just being able to go to the pub this afternoon, feeling no guilt about, it's sunny outside. What are you doing watching telly indoors? Just a Winter World Cup. The idea of that January in the pub. England are never good in the summer. It's just perfect for us. Halfway through the season, our lads won't be knackered.
No
It'll be
injuries.
No injuries. It's a great idea. Plus, the players' wives are happy because there's great shopping out there over Christmas. So those are 2 campaigns that I think we've been pretty good with. I've got a third one for you here. Are you ready?
Okay.
Go on.
I was looking at Malky Mackay yesterday, and we live in an era of increased massive player power. Massive owner power, and the guy to blame in the middle is the manager. That's fair enough. They also get the credit when things go well. But I think Bob Ballard touched on it last night. He sailed beautifully around what could have been a really good point of the show, but he ignored it largely. And it takes skill to do that. It really does. I mean, he really avoided the most
He
interesting
snatched defeat from the jaws of victory.
He really did, Gav.
So hang on, you're sitting up late at night, you're in bed, you've got the radio or the phone on.
Anything to get Ballard.
You're listening to Bob talking to you through the night.
I was outside his house.
Chanting songs.
I wasn't waiting for him to come back. Anyway, the point is, just to scare him a bit. No, the point is that I think a club, when you've got a manager, you've got your directors of coaching, for a manager, it's for a whole season, and it's his club for a season, no matter what.
Yeah.
That way, he hasn't got this thing of like the pressure of the next game, which is an awful thing for any man to go through.
Yeah.
Horrible. Then the players know. Do you know what? If he gets sacked, what we'll do is we'll just play really well in the next game.
Well, what is it now? It's 3 games, isn't it? If you lose 3, you're out.
You're sort of out.
Yeah.
The point is, if you want to have old school, proper managers who it's their club, my club, my rules. You've got to have that proprietorial feeling from a manager, because it's their name on the tin kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I just think they're being undermined at the moment because you've got these owners who haven't got a clue about football and ask questions like, why isn't the goalkeeper scoring more?
And should they all wear the same colour?
Do you think that Vincent Town saw the Stoke goalie score that long shot?
Yes, I think so.
And
Yes.
they thought, that's all. Maybe
There's
he
an
thought you got. Maybe
opportunity.
it was like the Super Bowl in American football with the long kicker.
The Hail Mary.
But then also you see players now know that, do you know what? He's not going to be sacked. We're not going to be able to save it at the last minute with that player manager coming in. We could be going down ourselves this year. We've got ourselves to blame as well. It means a manager actually gets to successfully play the mind games that are necessary with the players. It means he's got some stick against the owners. No, I'm here till the end of the season. This is what I'm going to do.
I would have loved that with Di Canio at Sunderland.
He has actually got
See
a point.
it through.
Yeah,
yes.
He has actually got a point.
Thanks.
Maybe goalies should try and score more.
All right, okay, sorry, man, sorry.
No, but they spend most of the game doing nothing
Absolutely
unless
right.
they're under attack.
But actually, it's not bad because my son's a goalkeeper, and I do find it really does give me good catch-up time during his matches. So I can just stroll down the other end. We have a lovely chat in the goal. It's really nice.
I was reading in 442 last month. They've got this goalkeeper in a lower league. He's in the Skrill League or something, and he's playing centre forward for a team. He said when he signed, he said, "Well, I'm a goalie." He said, "No, I want to play you up front."
Yeah,
and he's scored about 8 goals
but goalkeepers
from long shots.
Yeah,
because he's used to booting it long. So instead of trying to get into the 6-yard box like Arsenal or the edge of the area, he's hitting them from 30 yards and scoring.
It
Nice.
never
But
works
he's
out
playing
well.
centre
though.
forward.
I remember Fabian Barthez for United Manchester United.
He used to come up, didn't
kept
he?
trying to dribble the ball, and it never worked.
never quite
No,
worked.
no.
Go, "Hey!"
Yeah, but this-
Crowds used to chant, "Give it to Barthez."
This guy is what you've said. You're right. He's dribbling it, but it actually makes sense. A goalkeeper playing up front, shooting from 30 yards, the power and the distance they can get.
Yeah.
This guy's scoring loads. We should get him on the show. Lower league legend. He's scoring loads of goals.
I was wondering why, as I was at Chelsea the other weekend, and we just accidentally, it was a really long pass that went wrong, a long diagonal pass that went wrong, and it went into touch near the corner flag. And I'm thinking, why isn't that actually a good tactic? You just
Like in the rugby?
You just boot it out, get it right near the corner flag, and then
Let
just
them have a
crowd
throw
out,
in, yeah.
then crowd out, and then we start doing our lifting.
It's
of
a
players.
line out,
Then we
yeah.
start lifting players.
You
and-
would just, if you want that, you just got to follow anyone that Neil Warnock manages. At Leeds, he bought
You're
8
absolutely right.
Leeds, he bought 8 midfielders, and they spent most of the game just watching the ball go over their head.
Got sore necks.
Shall I tell you something? James, actually, the way goalkeepers are and the way they are as different people, the way they use their arms and they've got their arms outstretched, really brings us to why football excites such anger and aggression as well. I was thinking about football the other day. I was thinking, you know what it is, don't you? It's the 10 warriors defending the woman who is the net, the people from putting the ball in your net, fertilising your queen. And there is the goalkeeper standing there with his arms, and he's a bit sort of like the mother.
None shall pass.
Yeah, none shall pass. He's like the mother, just defending that net, and they literally stick their ball right in your net. And that feeling when it happens in your home of like, they have fertilised our queen. And you sort of think at a primal level, this is what football's about and why it does excite such extraordinary emotion.
Goalkeepers are mums.
You think I'm joking, but I once interviewed Damon Hill, yeah? I was once interviewing him, I was saying, isn't it a bit sort of Freudian and weird that the winner gets the biggest bottle of champagne and gets to shake it all over his opponents? Isn't there something Freudian about this? He goes, and Damon Hill, because I'd spoken to him about the football thing as well, he goes, no, it goes further than that. He goes, you think about it. He says, we're all racing around that track in those little cars, and it's first one through for the checkered flag. He says, it's more Freudian than that. He says, it's the
biological.
First, it's the first one
like
to fertilise the egg.
Yes,
Yes, exactly
yes.
right. So let's not forget this in football. If Damon Hill says that theory, it works for Formula
It's
One.
a beautiful sporting image.
Mine's not so funny. I'm just wondering why football does excite such horror when they score at your ground, and they just seem to be mocking you when they're celebrating their goal, and you come out with something venomous.
Well, when they kick it again into the net, sometimes they score a goal and then they run up and follow it in.
Yes, exactly right. Anyway, that's the sort of weapons-grade waffle you can look forward to over the next couple of hours right here on your TalkSport. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. 3 campaigns then. League Cup final, or Capital One Cup, Boxing Day, please, preferably 5 o'clock after the main football's finished in the afternoon, for the big event in the evening. Second, Winter World Cup's all right. Third, managers to get signed for a year.
Minimum.
It's their year, and you can't do anything. That's the transfer window for them, so they can have a settled campaign, stop these train-set owners messing around with the clubs. It's 11:15. This is Talk Sport. Here's your contact details.
Don't be shy. Join the proceedings by calling the show on 08717 223344. Email us via talksport.com, or you can tweet us at TSWarmup or text us at 81089. 50p plus normal sending charges apply.
Hello there, welcome to your warm-up. I'm Johnny Vaughan. It's 11:19, joined as ever by the woodman Gavin Woods and mad, bad, sad, dark James Brown.
Morning.
Dark brown.
Dark Brown, we're calling him.
Strangely brown.
Because he's very, he's just, there's a darkness about him that so many people have succumbed to.
He's the colour of rich mahogany.
He certainly is. He smells of leather-bound books. You're listening to the warm-up on TalkSport. As I say, thanks to Capital One, the credit card that supports the supporters. Thank you very much, Capital One, for supporting us as well. And we're trying to get your cup onto to Boxing Day. Really think about this, guys. If we're off message, do tell us and we'll stop campaigning for it. We'll do a rapid U-turn. He that pays the piper. James, you got some tweets in for us.
Yeah, we had so many good tweets last week on have you ever done a footballer a favour? Has a footballer ever done you a favour?
Brilliant.
Or just tell us your best footballing story, your best encounter with a footballer. We had so many great ones, and we're continuing that this week. Also, we've been off all week, so we haven't had a chance to do all the in-depth research that goes into these shout-outs.
You see, he's saying that because there's none.
Minutes of prep go into it.
But we're going to start with a cracker.
This is funny.
Adam Brooks is on Twitter at Hairy Nose Dad.
Nice.
This is for no reason. This is just his best personal football story. Yeah. I scared the life out of Gary Mabbott by wielding a sword and shield at him and shouting, "I do not entertain!"
Do I not entertain?
Tommy Burns, well, it's not really Tommy Burns, but it's at Davy Boy Davy on Twitter. He says, while having a meal at Parkhead in the 90s, I carried John Collins' balls to his boot.
Wow.
Nice.
That's very considerate.
That's just very, very considerate. Can we just say a big happy Christmas and a thank you as well? I know it's halfway through the show because they're all looking through the glass to all our team here.
Yeah, happy Christmas.
Well, that's Steve and John. Thanks, Steve and John. John is a marvellous human because he grew up in Northern Ireland, where I think when you meet anoraks from Northern Ireland...
They know everything about football.
Because they've spent their lives just indoors, sampling sport as a slow-moving matrix on teletext.
He's faster than Google, John. He really is faster than Google.
And also he comes in just to join these parts and goes, just do that, Johnny, then straight to the break. Straight to the breaker. Oh, Johnny, just don't mess around now. Just go straight to the breaker. And I get it in my ears sometimes when James is talking. That's great, straight to the break. And I don't think it sounds like he should be doing snooker. Yeah. Do get your tweets in. We also wanted to know any English managers or managers. They've left one club because they've had success there, and they've been moved to a bigger club, and it hasn't. We want any examples where it's gone well.
We couldn't think of an English manager to keep that tight. Since Howard Wilkinson, so we couldn't think of anybody in the Premiership era.
Because once you've been sacked, you're not bling to top players. To impress top players,
you're damaged goods.
This is the trouble with finding an England manager. You've got to find someone who's wealthier than they are. It's why Roy's got to wear that ridiculous watch, which is like a sundial.
Wealth statement.
Yeah, it's a wealth. Of course, it's a wealth statement. It's why Steve McLaren couldn't last. As I say, because he looks like a coach driver.
I've got a theory about this because I noticed Mick McCarthy is doing very well at Ipswich again. Yeah. They're up to 6th. Yeah. Basically, those managers. Mick McCarthy should get £1 million for getting Ipswich promoted. He'll like this. Yeah. And then another $1 million for just leaving straight away.
That's what you got to do. Yeah. It's like Warnock. He'll get you up.
He didn't get Leeds up. But anyway. Okay.
He did not get Leeds United.
No, but Steve McLaren.
You're saying
Johnny, we were talking. You mentioned Steve McLaren when we were talking about this, about whether your point about can an English manager sustain success? Can he go to a bigger club? Yeah. So McLaren has gone back down to the Championship again. He's doing great guns with Derby.
After he did well in Holland as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Arsenal do is a big game.
He didn't do a great action,
he actually did that interview.
It was not really that funny.
Arsenal do is also
a big club. Can you think of an English manager since Howard Wilkinson who has gone to a bigger club and been successful?
What about Alan Pardew? Arguably, has he gone to a bigger club? I guess he has. But the Mags haven't had great success yet, but he's doing a great job after some recent pressure. Okay, do we think he's going to stay there and last, or do we think he's going to end up getting sacked? I think it's the fate of anyone who's been sacked. That's it. It's going to be continual sackings, and I think it's all about whether a manager is bling enough for how the players and the owners feel the club it should be.
Dave from Northampton.
They've got to shine more than that Bugatti.
Dave from Northampton has texted in straight away and said, "Hey Johnny, Glenn Hoddle, Swindon, Chelsea, England."
Yeah, look what happened in England.
Yeah.
Sacked for comments made on karma.
About the afterlife.
Yeah, and why did he leave Chelsea there? Anyway.
Did he leave Chelsea to go to England?
Do you know what? I lose track of exactly why people leave Chelsea. He left Chelsea. Who came in after that? Ruud Gullit briefly as player manager, then Vialli.
Vialli.
Yeah, okay. I don't know really. Who knows? Maybe he left because he was the England. I don't know.
Yeah, he went to England.
Yeah, and he didn't have any success. And then he's dropped back in. He's now at Swindon's.
English manager's success is the longevity.
Yes.
Like those managers that have lasted forever. Like the guy down at Exeter.
Yeah.
Sort of
Anyway, my point is, you've got to shine more. You've got to be bling. Do you know what? Let's have some action from Back in Black. Here we go. The Woodman's here for the section of the show we love to call The Whistleblower, where suddenly it turns into the greatest magazine show about refereeing you'll ever see on the radio. Gav, good morning.
Morning.
No, let's start it like it's a new show.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to The Whistleblower.
Welcome to Back in Black.
As ever, we look through the refereeing blunders of the week. Gav, Brendan Rodgers is going to face the FA. What do we think about that?
Well, he hinted about Lee Mason being from the Greater Manchester area. And then he retracted it yesterday in saying, in terms of geography, I wasn't questioning anyone's integrity, I was just questioning the logic.
Which is, do you know what? The FA are really sensitive, and it's a bit oversensitive about this. Is a great. I understand they've got to protect referees, but he's made a good point. You gave me a statistical.
Well, no, I've got a list here of where all the referees are from.
Yeah.
We've got 5 from Yorkshire, 2 from Lancashire, 2 from Wiltshire, 2 from Cheshire, 2 from the Midlands, 1 from Durham, 1 from Northumberland, 2 from Merseyside, and 1 from Leicester.
Is there any from London at all?
None. And we've got
nobody south of Leicester.
Nobody
south of Leicester knows anything about football, Johnny.
In the southeast, we've got Palace, Chelsea, Tottenham, West Ham, Arsenal, and Southampton.
It's true.
Hang on, wait a second.
And no refs from the southeast at all.
And are there any refs from South Africa? No.
None.
See? Where you two are from, there are no refs.
Kev, what's your vibe? Are you saying South Africa's too far in the south? You look at South Africans as being southerners.
There should be some South African refs. There'd be no messing about then, I'll tell you.
What's your vibe today, Gav? Let's have a look at number 2 here.
Yeah.
Mark Hughes now.
Mark Hughes, yes, he's been charged with improper conduct for assaulting his coat after the 2 very quick red cards.
That's your own.
It's not me.
Whose phone?
It's Marcel.
It was James. You are sacked.
It's the electrician.
Schoolboy error. The manager at Stoke, Mark Hughes, was very confused because the ref applied some rules against their fouls.
Yeah.
And you've looked at it, they're all, it was a last man red card, it was a red. The first foul was apparently a bit soft, but the second yellow was definitely a yellow. He just kicked him in the leg.
Yeah.
He hacked him. So, yeah, that's all that was. The ref got it right.
The ref actually got it right.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that makes headlines on the Whistleblower.
Well, it does, and I can understand why Hughes was upset, because the refs do let stuff go in this country.
I've seen a perfectly good Mark Hughes goal disallowed once at Southampton because the net was too close to the hoarding behind the goal.
What, and it bounced out?
Yeah, Leeds were playing Southampton, and it was a Wednesday night game, and he hammered the volley in like he does.
And it bounced straight back out.
And it went so hard, it went bottom corner, went to the back of the net, hit the thing at the old Dell, hit the board, the hoarding, and just bounced out. And the ref thought it hit the post and carried on.
I like
it was right in line with where I was stood. The Southampton fans went insane.
I bet they did.
Hughes is still angry.
I bet they did. Yeah.
I sometimes it's obvious to me when referees go into a game and the FA's given them an agenda. We want you to clamp down on that.
Well, they say that at the beginning of every year, but as a brand, the Premier League is known for flowing football.
Yeah.
And
as a brand.
I think it's obvious that our refs are briefed to let some things go, especially early in the game, like the penalty Walcott should have had.
I like it when a ref lets it flow a bit.
Like an early foul, they don't give you a card. His quote, Mark Hughes, was brilliant. He said, we were controlling the game. Saidi made a brilliant goal, actually, earlier in the game to go 1-0 up. It went wrong when the referee got involved.
They can make or break games. Look, they're the most vital guy on the pitch.
I wonder what would happen if we did actually play a Premiership game or a top-level game
with no ref.
Without a ref.
Well, I've got a machine that can do that. James, what interests me about this is that referees and managers are the two guys that seem to get all the blame for football at the moment. And one is the sort of neither as well paid as players, and neither have the power of owners.
Well, the managers get pretty well paid.
They do get pretty
not as
well paid
as
the players.
No, that's true.
I mean, they get paid like a substitute.
That is fair comment, because in what other line of business does the boss not earn more money than the employee?
Yeah, it's extraordinary. And this is one main point about the bling factor. Can I say one more thing about the referees? Is I remember, this thing about going in with agendas. I remember a couple of seasons ago when that referee made, it was extraordinary. He made Frank Lampard retake that penalty 3 times.
For encroachment.
No, I don't know what it was quite for.
People
Maybe
running
just
past.
maybe likes watching Frank Lampard take a penalty.
I don't know, but it was just...
Oh, that was good, Frank. Do it
My
again.
point about it was, it's an extraordinary moment. I've never seen it before in a game. So I'm taking penalty 4 times in the end and scoring each one. And just, no, we're going to go back.
No,
we're going to
again,
go back.
please.
Suddenly he was like a petty PE teacher. Gav, hang on a second, Jace. Gav, let's just get on with the owner hits ref.
Oh, yeah, this is in United Arab Emirates. It was on YouTube this week. There was a late pen awarded in a game between Ajman and Al Hali. And the owner of the team who suffered from that pen went on the pitch and slapped the ref on the head twice.
Oh, man, we've all felt like doing it.
And I was just thinking, imagine if Roman Abramovich went on the pitch and slapped the ref.
Can you imagine how much they'd earn for charity? That'd be great. Can you imagine how much they'd earn for charity?
I've thought of someone else who'd be really good, Johnny.
Who?
For refs. Boxing referees.
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't take any stick.
No, they don't.
They
Mickey
really
Van,
don't.
is it, or is he the announcer? Proper boxing referees.
Can you imagine how much they'd raise for charity if at the end of a game where your referee had done really robbed your team, and you do get him in like a pillory, and you're able for charity to throw like tomatoes and rotting vegetation at him on the pitch. Fans can just queue up and actually vent a bit. You say, no, if you do this, you'll raise $100,000 literally for.
You're pointing about the wage difference between the players and the managers as well. Also, the players, they train, they play matches. Managers have sleepless nights trying to work out who's going to be the new left back. Should he drop the midfielder? Did he make a mistake selling that centre forward? They're constantly thinking about what they can do to those 11 guys to make them work. The players aren't doing that.
It's got to the stage when players, literally, they are employing their manager. You know that senior players have to sort of approve them.
Having a word
They'll
with the
sound them
owner.
out. And effectively, if the team stops playing, they just know the manager's going to get sacked. So they can effectively sack their own
That's
boss.
right, and get a new fresh go at
It's
it.
not a
And a
cooperative.
good example of that is Tim Sherwood at Blackburn. He was Roy Hodgson, who's now the England manager, who will want some Spurs players.
Yeah.
Went out and said, Sherwood got me the sack.
Yeah.
He was good at start, and then he decided he didn't like it. He wanted his move to Spurs. We didn't give him it, and all he's done for the rest of this season is disrupt, cause a bad atmosphere.
They definitely have
That's
the power,
why I lost
don't
my
they, the
job.
players?
Yeah,
Definitely.
but also, I just think it's time that these directors of coaching who are kicking around. Are we sounding a bit serious this morning? I hope
We
not.
are, yeah.
These directors of coaching who are hanging around there undermining managers, but they sort of appoint them.
And they don't get
think
sacked either.
If you want to sack a manager, then he has to have his sponsor in the boardroom, and he goes as well.
Yeah,
maybe
that's a
that
good
might
point.
that might.
Daniel Levy has
Yeah.
been through something like 11.
Well, it's the same at
managers?
Chelsea.
Yeah.
So sooner or later, we want to see men running clubs again. Formed in 1912 as Swansea Town, the club changed its name in 1969 to reflect Swansea's new status as a city. Currently managed by Michael Laudrup, who incidentally I tipped to get the Man United job eventually. They lie 11th in the Premiership, and their key players so far this season have been Wilfred Boney and Nathan Dwyer. Swansea were promoted to the Premier League in 2011, becoming the first Welsh team to play in the top division since its formation in 1992. Last February, they beat Bradford City 5-0 to win the League Cup and secured their first major trophy in the club's history. What year was the Premier formed?
92?
Well done, Gav. The Vetch Field was Swansea's home for 93 years before moving to the Liberty Stadium in 2005, where their average attendance is 20,288, which you got to clap in. And that is Swansea City in a minute. It's 11:36 right here on TalkSport. This is your warm-up. I'm Johnny Vaughan, the biggest name in British broadcasting. What?
Nothing. This is the biggest radio station on the planet as well.
Did I just say the biggest name in British broadcasting?
Yes.
Well, come on. After that first half hour, I would say some of the stuff we're coming out with this morning.
I was going to say about Vincent Tan.
I mean, how do you compete, frankly?
Johnny,
How do you compete?
About Vincent Tan, if you're going to wear a moustache outside Movember, with zero,
With glasses.
without irony. Don't put the gold-rimmed shades on as well.
Do you know what the thing about Vincent Tan is? Do you know what he looks like? Someone who's blatantly in disguise for things I've done. I wonder if they'll notice me here. I always used to wonder during the when just after Desert Storm 2, because everyone I saw on from footage from Iraq, everyone had a moustache that I saw. It was like Movember in Iraq.
It was.
The Iraqis or
Iraqis.
The Iraqis, yeah. They all followed. They all followed
Yeah, right,
Saddam
yeah.
Hussein as well, didn't they? They all wore them stars.
Maybe the war, did it start in November?
No, I don't. No, it didn't. It was a bit earlier. But what you say, we just caught them on the. Yeah. Anyway, the point was it was a big charity thing in Iraq. Yeah, but I was wondering if in Iraqi police stations must be on the photo fits. There must be a vast selection of different styles of moustache. There must be really noticing going. No, it wasn't. It was a hachteb.
But they all had
It was
the
more
same
of a
tash, though,
It was
didn't
the
they?
same hukhtar, but not as much hachteb.
What I like about Vincent Tan is that the news reports Vincent Tan is lining up Ollie Solskjaer,
Yeah.
whatever he's called.
Solskjaer.
I see this vision of him of Solskjaer just on the other side of a car being chased round.
Yeah.
He's trying
You
to,
will
like when
manage.
you see two kids and they're having a row.
Trying to
and
catch him round
and
the
there's
car.
an immovable object.
Would he fit into any decent sort of Hammer of the 70s? Hammer horror, not Hammer
Yeah.
like as in a tool. Although Cardiff fans would say that today. But he really does look. If you know what he's done, he's just got that disguise thing going. And once you start thinking of Vincent Tan, anytime they cut to him, think he's in disguise. I don't know. It just turns it really brings a new tier of entertainment to Cardiff games. You think,
does.
see that chairman there? He's in disguise.
Yes. Don't wear the shades.
Sorry, only I'm really
with
enjoying
the
that.
tash.
We've got a guest on now.
We have.
And I think our theme for guests for the warm-up has never been more fitting.
Indeed.
Hit it!
Somebody go get their ass kicked. Somebody go get their wings split. Somebody go get their ass kicked. Somebody go get their wings split.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Neil Razor. Morning, Neil.
You've lost it, you.
Listen. Once you've got it in this game, you never lose it. I'm not like you.
For 10 minutes listening to you. You're not well, you.
Okay, do you know, it's like you've gone soft, mate. That's what worries me about your retirement. You've gone soft.
You're hard as nails on the other end of a phone, you.
No, I'm just saying, if I was looking at you now, eye to eye, I'd detect a softness there that was absent before. Have you gone soft since leaving the game?
Yes, I have gone soft. I don't have to be tough anymore, and you know, I'm friends with Ryland. No,
Are you?
That's how soft I've gone.
It's a late reference, but I get it. Referring to last year's X Factor.
Yeah.
Nice.
No. Last year's Big Brother House. Celebrity Big Brother.
Oh, Celebrity Big Brother. You're right. He's made a more recent reality appearance.
Yes.
Okay. So how's this sort of softness? How's it become apparent in your everyday life? What rage has gone?
Because I haven't got a manager to tell me what to do. I'm my own boss now, and I can be
Okay.
lazy as I want. I've only got the missus tells me off now.
Okay.
But she can't find me like managers did.
Like all on-pitch.
I think it's a money thing, Boney. I think it's money.
I think it is, but like all on-pitch monsters, and indeed, like Sir Alex Ferguson himself, are you quite a henpecked, mild-mannered man round the house, and your wife actually wears the trousers?
Well,
Yes.
yeah, I'm scared to
Yes,
death of her, yeah.
I know.
I do. People think I'm this hard big monster, but she does scare the life out of me, if I'm truthfully honest with you.
and that's why you take out on others on the pitch.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
it probably is.
Razor, what's the most unfair fine you ever had to pay?
Most unfair fine I had to pay was when you get sent off when you're not meant to get. I mean, you always get 2 weeks. You always get 2 weeks' wages fine when you get sent off. And you know, sometimes that little tackle that you didn't mean to get sent off, and you know, it is true. I used to get sent off 2 weeks before every Christmas.
Oh no!
You
bad
know, and that
timing.
2 weeks fine just before Christmas.
Do you know what I hate? I hate the fact, I think Gav was talking about it the other week, is that when someone does get sent off, it normally happens towards the end of a game.
Yeah.
It's really the next team they play, or the people on the band
That gets the benefit.
that get the
That's right.
benefit. I think if you're sent off in a game, that's that. That's the punishment for that game. It shouldn't carry on anyway. I mean, the amount of sort of international
No,
tournaments
I think it should do.
that are...
Around Christmas it should do, so you can have Boxing Day on the 28th off. I just don't agree with the fine.
Yes, but it's also things like biting people. Like Suarez should never... He should be banned forevermore from playing Chelsea tomorrow.
Razor, where does Razor, where does the fine go?
Well, so if it's a really harsh, like a fight or a head-butting, I think it goes to the football club. But if it's a silly one, you know, you mistimed tackle, so that goes into the players' pool, and that pays for the Christmas.
So you get it
Christmas
back.
party.
You get it back.
And
Get some of
basically,
it
I think
back.
I did pay for every Christmas party for the last 20 years of every football club I paid for, of all the fighting stuff.
Neil,
Yes, Johnny.
you're a monster. You're an animal out there.
Thank you.
You're crazed. Sometimes things you did on the pitch veered on psychotic lunacy. But tell me, was there a particular player or team you loved facing?
I think as a footballer, you love facing your old team.
Do you?
Yeah.
Of course you do. Because you know why? Because you love to bring it on. And that's why we enjoyed you so much.
Johnny, I left Tottenham and went to Liverpool. I left Liverpool and went to West Ham. Because your mates are still there at that team. There's one thing better than beating your friends is hurting your friends while you're doing it.
Yes. Do you know, it's why in the Paris, when they used to have milling, the initiation
Boxing,
thing, where you box and you're not allowed to defend yourself. You just have to hit each other in the head as hard as you can for 30 seconds. They always used to pit people against the guy they were most friendly with. Because they knew they'd really get that needle going. Yeah, there's nothing worse, is there?
Yeah.
So, Razor, when you played against your former teams, are you spending the whole game keeping your eye out for your mate who you know is going to clap you?
I bet the best one, I grew up with Alan Shearer at Southampton.
Have you ever leathered Alan?
I kicked him in the face when he was on the floor.
Excellent, excellent. Good man. Good man.
Who hasn't wanted to do that on a Saturday night?
Anyone who's watched Match Today wishes you'd done it harder.
Well, the ball weren't there. It was just off the ball, but he was just there, so I had to kick it. And he didn't give me a lift home. I had to get a taxi home from Blackpool.
Listen, I've seen it. Who was that? Was that really spiteful kick Alan did when that bloke was on the ground?
Yeah, that was against
It was Neil Lennon, wasn't it?
Neil Lennon.
It was Neil Lennon, wasn't it? That was. So don't worry about Alan.
And I like Neil Lennon, so I thought I'd get my own back.
Yeah, so it was revenge.
Hang on, so he wouldn't give you a lift home afterwards?
After I kicked him in the face. But the best thing was we was on the golf team the next day. We played at Formby, and I pulled one of his stitches out of his eye.
By way of apology.
£25 taxi that was.
Should have done it when he was driving.
He couldn't. I was in a taxi.
I know.
Did he?
Should have reached in through the taxi. Gone, Alan, vroom.
Giving him the good news.
Yeah, giving him the good news.
And it was slightly, you know, when the scab had just gone a little bit hard and that. So it really
It's a
stung him.
lovely time to rip a stitch out, Neil.
Yeah, thanks, lad.
Perfect timing.
Should have rubbed it with lemon afterwards.
yeah, just squirted vinegar at him.
Johnny,
I did have none in my golf bag.
Neil is the third member of the greatest ever football television show that we've had on, the Come Down With Me special.
That's right.
We've had Vash, now we've had Ruddock, and we also had Carlton, who's the
Palmer,
winner.
Golden peanut,
Did your missus made all the food, didn't she?
my mum made the Monopoly
mum.
pie.
Yeah.
Oh.
I done the big boys pasta. I mean, Mrs. made some egg thing that was rubbish.
Do you know what? On violent monsters like Neil, I love the strong mother figure. It's real Violet Cray syndrome, isn't it? It just happened in the East End. Strong women raising violent boys.
Why did you do the cooking naked?
Because they went upstairs. They said go and get changed, so I just went upstairs, put a pair of cowboy boots and my pinny on. And they loved it. But the best thing was, if you watch it back, the microphone, you know, you got your mic, didn't have nothing to strap it on. So
Easy.
No, they put the battery in
Easy, Neil. That's
a pocket in the front of the pinny for the microphone battery. And when I stop, it sort of sways, so it looks like I'm really holding.
No, it's such a vital indefinite pronoun, the one you missed out.
Strap
that it.
Very good.
I don't know if it is or
That
not.
was, if you haven't seen that, you've got to watch that show. It'll be on YouTube. It's absolutely
Is it really
and
brilliant?
the best thing was because I had to have an 18-year-old makeup artist covering spots up on my bum.
what was his name?
That's why you did it, you
That's
filthy
why I
man.
did
You
it.
filthy man.
She left
Thank
the
you.
business after that day.
Yeah. Okay.
He's still mates with him.
Okay, I'm still getting over the Alan Shearer not giving you a lift.
That's brilliant.
That's just great,
It's
isn't it?
unbelievable. From Blackburn to
Very
Merseyside,
petty.
it's a long way.
It's a long way. Mind you, if you'd sat there together, can I ask you, what would conversation have been like, do you think? If you'd sort of
I'd
sat
have
there in the
been
car
flicking his eye. I was squeezing his eye. And everything. And we won 3-1 as well. Rusty got a hat-trick.
You kicked us in the 8, did you?
So we won
What's
3-1.
really
So he couldn't have anything. You know, he'd have done it to me. So I was like to do it to him.
Was there ever anybody that you really hated playing against because you just knew they were better than you?
How
happen.
long you got?
Oh, this is a show that loves self-depreciating comments, and that was out.
No, but who did you think? Oh God, I've got to mark him today.
I think the three of the best three players I played with was Cantona, Bergkamp, and Zola.
Well, I'd agree with the last one. Yeah. And also, do you know what today? Today we're just looking at any English managers who've gone on after being sacked, or when they've moved on to another club, have done better. Someone's texted in to say Bobby Robson. He went for Ipswich. He went from Ipswich, England, Barcelona, PSV, then back to Newcastle. My point is, if you look at the two English clubs, apart from England, either side of that, Ipswich and Newcastle, he didn't replicate the success he had early on with Ipswich, with that Paul Mariner, Mick Mills, Eric Gates, with that great side he had there. He didn't have that same success at Newcastle. So we're talking about within England, who has ever had who's English and had double club success? Can you think of anyone?
Wow.
Because I think once people start getting sacked in England, that's really it. You've got this Hughes, Bruce. You've got this sort of churn of so where are they going to pop up next? They're just sort of these, Anyway, let's move on with our last thing.
It's not too sensible for your show. Anyway.
It is a bit sensible. I don't know what I was doing there. I don't even want to ask you that. Can I ask you how you used to warm up, and then very briefly, and then we're done. How do you used to warm up and psych up for games?
I think the warm up starts when you get to the game. You've got to have 3 nights out sorted.
Right.
If you win, you can go out, absolutely go and get smashed. Then you've got to have the draw. If you draw, you have to go out and you have to sit there a bit sombre for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then get smashed.
And what do you do if you lose?
And then get smashed.
Yes.
Right, and if you lose?
Home for a takeaway.
And then
if you
get
was away
smashed.
from home, if you played away from home, you had to think out how can we get the beers on the back of the coach without the manager hearing them.
Right. Yeah, or the coach driver, of course, because that is illegal.
No cans on the coach.
Does the same rule apply to players as does to fans, that you can't have any alcohol on the coaches?
Yes.
Okay, that's sad. Well, I suppose it's good reason, actually.
Yeah.
You don't want everyone turning up smashed. Ruddock, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. And is it Gavin and James, is it?
Yeah. Can I say, with all due respect to everyone else who's been on the show, he's the best guest, right?
So far.
And that was my booking. That was the first one I've booked.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To be fair.
That was a
He
brilliant
started
call.
well.
He did.
He got it right from the off.
Ruddock, you're an animal. You're crazy. But I tell you what, you're our favourite guest, ladies and gentlemen. Ruddock!
Thanks, Neil.
That was the podcast. Hope you enjoyed that. That was this week's warm-up. James, I thought you had a cracking show today.
Thanks, John. I thought you did as well. You were great.
I was a bit who fed the puppy. As I say, Bob fired me up last night while listening to his show. This wasn't, we weren't together. And you never see that.
Oh!
But
Sorry.
is the knee still troubling you?
No, he's have tackle. Sorry.
Okay, fair enough.
Just watch you as we're doing this.
Oh,
I
that's
saw
a tackle.
an
Look at
horror
Bob's tackle. Oh, right, that tackle.
Not Alan's tackle.
Okay.
It was Carlton Cole's tackle.
Okay, sorry, James is watching telly. He likes to do that while doing the show. It keeps him interested. It's a great radio show to listen to as long as you've got something else to do, like a book to read, a film to watch. Anyway, that was the warm-up. Hope you enjoyed that. Happy New Year to you. We are back on New Year's Eve with our music spectacolare.
The best anthems that the readers, the best anthems that the listeners have voted for,
and the readers of
all of
the
our
readers of the TalkSport website.
Happy Christmas to all our readers
for the Braille
the TalkSport
broadcast.
website.
yeah, of all the readers of the TalkSport website, which is funny because it's great how they've done a stealth radio station underneath that, because there's nothing on that webpage tells you it's a radio station at all. Nothing.
It just says TalkSport.
Yeah, that's it. There's no
You
hint.
know the beauty of our show is
What?
If there's that fellow who tweeted in from Dubai and
Yeah.
the other
Yeah,
guys in from
Mississippi,
America,
yeah.
they can't be trapped in the car on the way to a rubbish English game or rubbish Scottish or Welsh
Well, they're
game
listening by
with
choice.
their mates. So we are their mates, bantering on.
It's a show for stream. I'm Johnny Vaughan, the biggest name in British broadcasting. He's Gavin Woods, the second biggest name in British broadcasting. And he's James Brown, the biggest name in British publishing. Welcome to the warm-up podcast. Another week of fun and football frivolity. Gav, did you enjoy the show this week?
Yeah, it was all right. Not really, to be honest. No, I'm joking. I did. Of course I did.
I enjoyed it. Do you know what? Because we haven't done it for a couple of weeks. I
was really looking forward to
I
it.
really was excited.
Yeah, it was good.
It was a good
Yeah,
show.
really, really excited. Go on,
Jason
what-
McAteer was superb.
Jason
You're
McAteer
going to love that.
is our best. If you haven't heard, if you didn't listen to the show, and I have to say, when you listen to the podcast, it's disappointing compared to the show. Hasn't got that live energy.
No.
It's
James?
not long enough.
It's not long enough, is it?
No.
It's just not long
Do
enough.
you know what's good though? We get in post.
Are we?
Yeah, and I've got we've been sent a CD.
Who by?
It's by an artist called Ian Danter.
Oh, yeah, don't you?
Oh,
Ian
yeah.
Danter.
Not the hamster out of Kiss.
He's the very same.
Yeah.
He is,
I
yeah.
wonder if it's the same man.
Well, let's find out now. Let's listen to the show.
morning. Welcome to the warm-up in association with Capital One. With me, Johnny Vaughan, on the day when Andy Carroll is warming up for a return to the West Ham side in their crunch match away at Cardiff. And whilst Wayne Rooney is on a warm weather break in Egypt, a defeat for Man United against Swansea today would mean their worst losing streak for 53 years. The game is live on TalkSport this afternoon at 5:30. Warming up alongside me, as ever, the whistleblower, the man with the definitive word on referees and more, the Woodman, Gavin Woods. All right, Woodman.
Morning, Johnny.
You right, matey?
Very well, thank you.
And we got Principreneur Jimmy Brown. He's got a biro in his hand.
I have.
Morning, Jimmy.
Scribbling.
I'm writing notes. I was in bed an hour ago.
Were you?
Yeah, I like to,
Oh, you cut it fine.
Have a rest.
Can I just say, well, of course I can say, I'm going to say it. I was just discussing Wayne Rooney there on a warm weather break in Egypt. It was quite weird last night. I was watching some of the sports news on a sports channel, and it had David Moyes, and he was giving a press conference, and he just goes, he was just talking away, and he goes, obviously at the moment we're not very, I'm not happy with Rooney's groin. and he actually said, the club have taken a good look at Wayne's groin. We're not happy with it. I mean, what are they all doing? Like hanging around Wayne with his legs open, just prodding his groin with biros, just prodding it with the end of biros. Go, no, I'm not happy with that.
What, in one of those gynecology setups with the stirrups?
With the stirrups. I think they've got a bit of the upsound. We might have got this together quite quickly. Have a listen. Here we go.
We've sent Wayne away on a sort of some hot weather break. We've sent him away. His groin isn't quite recovered yet, but his groin isn't quite as good as we'd hoped at this moment in time. So we'll get him away. Hopefully, get him fit for Chelsea.
Okay, it wasn't quite, but you said we'll get him away. We have a long, hard look at his groin.
I love when he goes, because we sent him away on a warm weather break. He actually started to say a holiday.
He's thinking, we sent a man to Egypt to warm his groin up.
Yeah.
You can do that on a sunbed in Fulham. Not that he lives in Fulham.
A crack groin team with him to deal with it.
He's got 3 groins. Have you ever had a groin strain, James? I don't know. Really.
No, I've had a calf tear recently, not a groin strain. When I was a kid,
well, that's not the same subject.
Said hernia, do you remember that? Hernia.
No, I don't remember that.
If you said the word hernia, everyone would just crease up.
But I do remember calling Swap Shop up when Kevin Keegan was on, because Kevin was off with a groin strain at the time.
Right.
And we called up. We didn't get through.
Great anecdote.
Yeah. No, because I think it was the way we're going. We're going, I'd like to talk to Kevin about his groin strain. me and my mate Jeremy just thought it was really funny. We don't know what...
groin. It was funny.
It's just funny.
Groin strain.
Groin's just funny. And we're going, Kevin, can we see your groin?
Imagine you've trained to be a physio, you've done lots of sports science, you end up looking at Wayne Rooney's groin, you're thinking, is this what I signed up for?
Yeah. But I saw that when I saw what was he called? What's he called? Balotelli, and he was standing just at the side of the pitch at Man City, and there was a man just massaging
the inside of his groin,
just massaging one of his legs, yeah. and I was thinking, how does a family feel at home when they're going, "That's your dad, right there," and that's what he does.
He's rubbing that man's
He rubs a man's leg who's ignoring him. Completely. Balotelli was just looking there. He even spat. It was like something from a bizarre male bordello. And he was just standing there, just massive. He was just crouched down with his head at groin height, just massaging Balotelli's thigh. And I was thinking, there's his mum going, "That's your dad there. Look, massaging the funny man with the white plumes."
That's Mario's groin man.
That's Mario's specialist leg man. Anyway, James, what are you warming up for today, matey?
Well, today we're looking on the Twitter, we're looking for people to send, following on your theme about the coach drivers or pilots, the managers.
Just to recap, in case you haven't heard it, as we say, all managers divide up. You can look them in the eyes and say coach, driver, or pilot, or in the case of Arsene Wenger, tour guide at the front of the coach, just with the microphone.
But extending that, your worst players in the team you support, what job would they be more tuned to? What job would they be better to do
than playing for your team?
Yes, that's the first one. And also,
it's a classic, James. Yeah, it's a classic feed.
But to get you going, Simon Buck 2 on Twitter at Simbuck 2 says Martin Keown, alternative life model in the Neanderthal section at National History Museum.
I could see that. My favourite was always years ago. I did a similar phone in, and the best one we had in was with Gerard Houllier, and someone texted in to say Panto Dame. just imagine with a little lipstick. Right, it's a bit dated now, but what are you warming up for today there? Is that our Twitter today, Jack?
That's Twitter. So, what would your worst players be better off doing? And also, a lot of people swapping unwanted Christmas presents, and it's a transfer window. What would you swap your worst players for?
Okay. What would you swap?
Either them. Yeah. We were just talking about swap shop then.
Yeah.
You know, would you swap?
So we're
your
doing a
worst-
football swap shop today?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
So-
What you'd say, effectively, you have to think that you own your football club. Not that we're thinking this show off as we go along. You own your football club.
Yeah.
What swapsies would you take? And it can't be other players. It's got to be unwanted Christmas
For
presents.
something
Yeah,
else.
for something else. Something you didn't get for Christmas, something you'd like for Christmas.
Here's one. Here's what they get us going. One Tony Vaughan says, Torvill and Dean. I would forget that.
I was going to say that already sounds a bit tasteless.
I can't read that out.
Okay, I was going to say, sounds obscene already. Cause I've sort of can see the tail end of that one. And can I just say, they never did. And so you won't have footage of them doing that. And that's twisted.
Make it clean.
Yeah,
you
make
want to
it,
be read out.
Try and make it clean. I've become obsessed with Mad Moose, this racehorse.
Yeah.
That won't run properly.
6 outings now it's had. 6 outings, and it just disappears off. It won't run.
It wants to be free.
It wants to. I want to be free. What do we want? We want to be free. But Mad Moose, they interviewed his trainer on the telly. Twiston Davis, although it's probably not pronounced Twiston Davis.
It's called Twiston Davis.
No, his trainer.
Like Shakin' Stevens.
Twiston Davis.
Hey, Twisty.
Yeah, woo.
Twisty.
No, it's not that. His trainer's. It's spelt Twiston Davis. It's probably pronounced
Torsten or
Well,
something.
it's
yeah.
T-W-
Torsten Dean.
Towsder.
Yeah. Towsder Dive. And but anyway, I was just sort of thinking about this. He was being interviewed, and he says. Yes, actually, he's a very clever horse indeed. I mean, he's very intelligent, and he realised he talked his way into trouble here. He's a very intelligent horse. He's realised that he doesn't need to, and he suddenly realised that they're basically using racehorses in a really.
They don't want to run.
They don't actually want. They don't want to run. But I remember last year at the Grand National when a couple of horses had to be destroyed, and I was thinking to myself, actually. It's unfair to say these horses don't want to run. Because if you notice, when a horse does fall at a fence, the jockey becomes unseated.
They carry on.
It's the racehorse that carries on.
But isn't that a herd mentality?
No, I don't know, but it's the jockey that doesn't show the commitment. You never see a jockey alone, do you? Hurdling. They're going to climb over the fences and I'm going to finish it even without the horse.
That would make it much better if they did.
With a horse running behind him, whipping him.
Maybe if they got to finish.
Yes. If on the Grand National, go on then. If you're not going to do it, if the horse is showing the commitment, the jockey must. I'd love to see those little jockeys struggling over.
No, they're fighting their way through the hedge.
Just hacking their way through the hedges because the jockey's he's got to finish. Do you know what? It's 11:15. This is your warm up on TalkSport. Do tweet us about your management swaps you'd like, and also we always love alternative occupations for managers. Do tweet us about those.
And players. Your worst players.
Any players, any swaps you want to do, that's the one we're going with this morning. This is your warm-up. Welcome to a brand new year right here on our show. And here's how you can get in touch.
Don't be shy. Join the proceedings by calling the show on 08717 223344. Email us via talksport.com, or you can tweet us at DS Warmup or text us at 81089. 50p plus normal sending charges apply.
Big hello. If I haven't said Happy New Year to you already, which I won't have done because
we didn't have a show last week, did we?
We didn't have a show last week, unless, of course, you were amongst the happy band who listened to our music special over New Year's Eve. But anyway, Happy New Year from all the warm-up gang here.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Gav, I know you've got something you were going to say in the opening, but Georgie and Mickey overran.
I know. Two things. One was the game every 2 days. You know, you were saying Boxing Day, the Capital One.
Yeah.
I really like the league game every 2 days. It's
Yeah.
brilliant. You start resenting it when there's no football on the next day, don't you? It's like,
really-
come on, I'm loving it.
Yeah, but also,
yeah, Sam Allardyce in the cup game in the week, he had a sort of sports branded coat on with a hood.
Yeah.
And his head barely filled.
I know.
The hood barely contained.
I know.
He rendered that hood into like a kipper. You know,
I know.
You know the Jewish skull cap.
Yeah.
It was barely
Yarmulke,
contained.
yeah.
Yeah, yarmulke. Yeah.
do you know something? You're absolutely right. Sam Allardyce has the only head in football that fills a hood.
Completely
properly.
fills it. Yeah.
It can fill a whole away end.
He had to pull it on like a. He had to pull it on like a sock.
Just like one of them massive South
Like a
American
condom.
banners. They've got a massive head.
He looked like a sports branded
West Ham.
monk.
Do you remember those jackets, incidentally, which when I was a kid we used to call condom coats?
No, what were they?
No.
Birds used to wear them. They were like either blue or pink and really tight, like anoraks. Don't you remember those? And they were like almost see-through in the 80s.
Oh, yeah,
Do you remember they were sort of like a gossamer jacket?
Yes.
We used to call them. Anyway, sorry.
I just remember those anoraks
that'll probably be
the
done.
anorak with a hood where it came to sort of like a furry tube
That's
in
a
front of your
snorkel
face.
parka.
Yeah, snorkel parka, yeah.
Brilliant for snowball fights because you can pop a snowball right in that hole, can't you?
Yeah, okay. Well, like putting a grenade into a tank.
It is.
Yeah.
Clear.
But you were talking about Sam Allardyce. I thought when you're being defeated in heavy rain, don't put your hood up.
No.
You just look sackable.
You do.
No one takes sympathy on anyone like that in a hood. You're just like, oh, let's just sack him.
You look like you're struggling.
Let's sack him. Look at him in his hood with the rain coming down with his big old head.
I know
looking
we're
like,
about...
looking like he's just trying to keep his quiff dry.
If I was him, I'd have
the
just
old Ted.
halfway through the half, I'd have just gone in and had a shower. Yeah, because it looks ultimately
yourself
cool.
off.
I don't care. I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
If they're gonna.
Well, it's like we said a
Mess
couple of
around
weeks
that,
ago. It's like we said a couple of weeks ago. Because everyone can just sack managers and stuff. Everyone just uses them as an excuse.
That's right.
That's all right. We'll just pull it back.
I was
a bit,
watching
won't
the West Ham Arsenal game on Boxing Day, Johnny, and they had Steve McManaman on as a pundit. We're about to speak to his ex-colleague, Jason McAteer. And they said, well, what can West Ham do against Arsenal today? And he went, well, I don't like to say, but they just got to kick them.
Yeah, but some of the fans, some of the West Ham, the Man City fans were going, why aren't they just booting us?
Yeah.
I don't understand. This
I
is the
know.
worst team we've played against. Why don't they just try and stop us playing?
There was
Yeah.
no yellow cards, hardly any fouls.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing. There's just no heart there, was there?
No.
Well, I don't know about that, but I'll tell you something. Joe Cole can really wear a kit. I tell you something. There's some players who just, and it's a strange London expression, but they just, when they're wearing their kit, they just sit nice, don't they? The kit just sits nice on them. I tell you what, that Joe Cole, that kit really sits nice on him. Some players don't suit kit.
I was talking to my brother about that. He remembers a Leeds player, Molinar. Remember Molinar?
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Terminator.
Terminator. He was a
and
good
even
player.
when the shorts went baggy, they were still tight on his thighs.
Nice.
was
You
so
see,
muscular.
when Kevin Keegan used to wear that Admiral England kit, he used to sit nice on him. Especially when he was stretching at the side of the pitch, those little shorts. God, it sat nice. If you want to say who the kit sat nice on,
Let us know.
Please do let us know. Right now, though, we have a guest. Welcome to the show, Jason McAteer.
Hi, Jason.
Morning.
Legend.
You like there?
I'm all right, I'm just laughing, yeah. Two things. That's the worst Scouse accent I've ever heard.
It's not that bad, mate.
Steve McManaman is my brother-in-law, so don't be giving him any stick.
Okay, stick. Could you just say the word, as we always ask all our Scouse guests, please could you just say the word chicken for us?
Chicken.
Oh, come on, you can do better than that. Come on.
Yeah, but I'm from the Wirral. I'm like a bit posh, aren't I?
I like that.
I'm not actually from Liverpool.
Yeah, don't
I'm not a
touch me.
Scouser.
Jason,
All
are you
right.
married to Steve McManaman's sister?
Yeah, that's how it works if he's my brother-in-law then, isn't it? Yeah.
No,
Easy.
No,
He might have been married to your sister.
Wait.
No, I'm not. I'm married to Steve McManaman's wife's sister.
So you were actually wrong there. Brilliant.
Brother-in-law,
Yeah,
in-law.
well,
Okay,
you know
okay.
me, lads.
Okay. I've got a few of them coming up. Actually, can we find out why is it that Steve McManaman was called Macca and not you? Because it must have been a touch and go for a bit there. Who is going to get the Macca handle?
Yeah, it's a bit of a long story if you want me to tell it.
Yeah,
Well, to be fair, Macca,
Yeah.
well, Macca's always Macca, right? And when I was playing for Ireland, I was known as Trigger.
All right. Okay.
And the reason I got the nickname Trigger was obviously off the Only Fools and Horses character. But
Yeah.
when we were in the World Cup in '94. Jack let us go out for an afternoon. Like he let us go out and have a bit of food and a couple of drinks and stuff. And we went to this American diner, about 16 of us, and we had the girl, the waitress. We had her demented. She was all over the place. And I said to her, I tried to make a bit of conversation with her and try and like cool the situation down. So I said to her, "Hey, what's your name?" So she told me her name. I said, "Where are you from?" And she went, "I'm from Pennsylvania." And I went, And she went, "That's Transylvania, you idiot. What do you want to do?" So I got my nickname as Trigger,
right,
and then when I signed for Liverpool, we already had a Trigger,
You already had a
which
trigger.
was Rob Jones, because he is proper thick. And
He's
my
proper thick.
nickname then became Dave.
Okay. Dave.
Dave, because Trigger calls Rodney Dave.
Oh,
yeah.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
I can imagine the meeting would go, what are we going to call him here, lads? We've already got a trigger.
Yeah. I still get called Dave now.
Do you?
Get called Dave now. Yeah. I'm with Robbie Fowler over in Ireland. We're playing a couple of rounds of golf, and even he just calls me Dave. I'm just known as Dave. Even my nieces and nephews call me Dave.
It's as easy to say as Jace.
It is,
But
yeah.
you've got to have a nickname.
Gotta
We can't
stay with it, yeah.
It's thinking
Yeah, you've got to have a nickname.
You can't actually be called your
What
real
is the best nickname you've heard for a footballer? That
Ever, apart
we,
from-
the
apart
public,
from
wouldn't
Dave.
know.
Well, me and Robbie Fowler were talking about it yesterday, and there's some funny ones. Neil Poynton, who played for Everton, his nickname was Disser.
Disappointing.
And Robbie Fowler, he nicknamed, remember Kiki Musampa?
Yeah.
He nicknamed him Chris.
That's well known.
Christmas
Christmas Amber.
Christmas Amber.
Christmas
Yeah,
Amber's
yeah.
great.
That is
Can I say,
And the other one,
Yeah, go on.
the other one was remember Fitzall.
Yeah.
He was nicknamed One Side.
One side.
One side. Can I say, next time you're having one of those conversations with Robbie Fowler, could you get, I don't know if you've got an iPhone, but if you get it out on voice memo, record the whole thing and make sure you send it into the show, because we'll fill an hour with that on Talk
Easy.
Sport.
No, I tell you,
seriously.
the best conversations I have are actually with Rob Jones, because you can imagine how that goes.
Yeah.
And,
Record those as well.
Mate,
We'll just
seriously,
have-
last year, I don't tell you a conversation I had with him last year.
Yeah,
This
go on
is
then.
true,
Of course
right?
we do.
You got
So we were in Ireland. We were celebrating a couple of birthdays. So we come across to Ireland and we were having a couple of drinks and that. And I said to Rob Jones, I said, "What are you up to, Trig, at the minute?" And he said, "I'm working on an autobiography." And I went, "What's it about?" and he went, "I don't know. I've not read it yet." But that's the God's honest truth. They're the conversations me and him had.
That is brilliant.
This is gold. Could you go on, listen, if you're going to have those conversations, because I'll get him to drop Bob Ballard for that.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely, his late night show, that's gone. So, well, it's not actually. Sorry, Bob, I only say that because I know you're missing. But any conversation you have, Rob Jones or Robbie Fowler, please do record them. Okay, I've now got to ask you, what was your warm-up for games? How did you used to warm up in the old days?
Well, in the early days, we used to run out and just smash balls at the keeper. And then,
What is that 11-year-old warm-up? That's brilliant.
and then as football developed and sort of mascots come into it, then it was trying to whack the mascot off the back of the head with a ball. That's what happened. And then,
No points
and
for
then
a
it
body
was,
shot.
you know when you get the people who go for the fans who go for the cup of, they must go for a cup of Bovril or
Yeah.
off here, and they must time it where it's like 5 minutes before kick-off, and they used to walk back, but like really slow, so they didn't spill it. And we used to aim for them behind the goal.
Hot Bovril all over yourself. That's
It
brilliant.
must have been hilarious if you were watching from the crowd, because we were just missing the goal. And everyone was, he's
Okay.
rubbish, him. Look, he can't score.
Was that a Scouse accent you went into there?
That was Scouse accent. Yeah, that's my Scouse
It's
accent.
rubbish, that. Okay, tell us what happened in the Ireland camp during the infamous Saipan incident with Roy Keane.
Oh, I can't tell you that. I'd have to kill you.
Oh, no, go on.
It'd be worth it.
No, it's a well documented story. It just went off, didn't it? And I'll tell you the funny thing that happened with it.
Yeah, go on, tell us the funny side of it. We don't hear about Roy's
what
rage.
happened was obviously the arguments happened between Roy and Mick, and no one really seen it coming. And it's kind of, when you're in that kind of environment, it's you're all close and you don't expect anything like that to happen, and nothing happened like that before. So it was kind of surreal. No one really knew how to act, and when Roy got up and sort of walked out of the room, he kind of left everyone in silence, and no one really knew what to do. And it must have felt like 10 minutes, but it must have been about a minute.
Yeah.
And it was just this silence in the room.
Do you get that with? Don't you get that with Roy anyway?
Well, he'd left the room, hadn't he? So
Okay.
yeah. So he'd gone, and there was this silence, and then Mick McCarthy turned around to the lads, and he said, "Has anyone got anything to say?" And our reserve keeper, Dean Carley, put his hand up, and Mick went, "What is it, Dean?" And he went, "I just want you to know, Mick, I can play centre midfield if you need me."
Okay, listen, it's 11:30. Jason, please hang on the line, because I've got so much more to ask you about, and you've been a tremendous guest. Could you, have you got something on, or can we chat on?
No, I've got something on, to be fair. It looks, what's that saying that you say?
I don't know, there's...
The close, what do you say when the Cockneys, when they say the close? The sit well.
Yes, it sits nice. No, I just got to ask you a couple of questions. If you can just hang on,
wait on a minute.
Just for 2 minutes, Jace. Come on.
All right, no problem.
All right, Jace. Okay, listen. We are back with more Jason McAteer right after this. Stay with your warm up. This is the warm up. I'm Johnny Vaughan, joined as ever by Gavin the Woodman Woods, Jimmy Brown. And, it's more Jack and Macanori. More stories from
Jason, we just voted you best guest ever.
We really have. You're outstanding.
In 2 minutes?
In 2 minutes.
That was fantastic.
Not only have we given this section of the show its own little name now with Jack and Macanori, but we're going to institute you for a regular weekly slot. Okay, here we go.
No problem.
Okay, here we go. No problem. No problem. Okay, here we go. What was the last thing you said to Roy Keane when you last spoke to him ever?
Well, to be fair, we haven't spoken for quite a few years, and I was at the FA Cup final last year. I was doing some work for ESPN, and I went to watch the game. Like, I was doing all the pre-stuff, and I went to watch the game, and we were in the studio bit where the box is. Yeah. And ITV's box was next door. Yeah. And I was kind of just inside the door because it was a bit cold, so I could see these people. I could see these people coming towards the door, and I couldn't make them out. Yeah. So I opened the door, and it was Roy. And he walked in, and he just looked at me, and he didn't even smile. In fact, he didn't even say anything, and I just went, no problem. So that is the last thing I said to him.
Do you know something? I had the same thing with, a similar thing with Roy myself. I told the story a while ago, but this was ages ago when I was waiting for the Man United team to come out of this hotel. So I was going to heckle them before they played Chelsea. And as each member of the team came past me, I was going, unlucky today, lads. This is before the game. I said, unlucky today, lads, because you're going to lose. And I shook David Beckham's hand, and I shook Scholes' hand. I was going, unlucky lads, every single one. And I couldn't work out why that entire Man United team stayed at the front of the coach, all pointing at me, including Sir Alex. They all just stood there. They were all just standing at the front of the coach, arms folded, looking at me like, yeah, what are you going to do now? And suddenly I was thinking, why are they all doing that? And then Roy Keane came out. And they just saw my bottle absolutely go. I was going, I just went, good luck today, Roy. Anyway, my point is, if he intimidates me, poor. Okay, how did your World Cup warm-up differ from league matches?
The World Cup warm-up?
Yeah. I mean, did you still try and just kick balls at people holding Bovril? Did you still try? I mean, did you have a different warm-up?
No, it was different because when we were in the World Cup in '94, obviously it was in the Giant Stadium. I remember it being about 110 degrees.
Really hot, yeah.
Yeah, we played Italy, and I didn't think I'd get on. And Jack, it made me laugh actually at the time because Jack told me to go and warm up.
That was a great win.
I thinking it's 110 degrees. What does he want me to do? I'm already roasting.
Was that the game where? Is that the game where you?
I'm roasting. He told him to warm up when it was 110.
Was that the game where they couldn't get enough water into the players towards the end of the game? Do you remember they were trying to drink water?
Was this in '94?
Yeah.
Was this '94?
Yes.
When
94.
When you actually beat Italy that game, that was a great game. I saw that in
1-0.
I saw that in a TV lounge in a really bad hotel in Sardinia.
Nice.
And it was really hot in there. And I was just going mad. You know, you sort of, the people you're with bring out a bit of... Sorry, it's not about me. Okay, here we go. Give us a story. Just tell us about the team lineup against Norway and what happened in that before you played that game.
Yeah, well, obviously, like I said, I didn't think I was going to play any part in that World Cup because when you're number 21, obviously there's 10 subs before you, isn't there?
Yeah, right,
So I couldn't believe it when obviously I got on against Italy and then obviously got on against Mexico, and then I was given the nod the night before the game to play against Norway. So obviously we got to the Giant Stadium and it was road, so we needed to get a draw to get out the group. And it's the national anthems are done like the Champions League are now. So you've got Norway one side, then you've got the officials, and then you've got the Irish team. So I was standing next to John Aldridge because I used to try and stand next to one of my heroes in the lineup just so he'd rub off and I'd play a little bit better.
Yeah, right.
But I had him one side of me and I had Roy Keane the other side of me.
Okay, so
and so we're doing the national anthems and we're just standing there. Anyway, it starts and Andy Townsend, our captain, he kind of leans across the Packy bonnet and whispers something in his ear. So, like, then he whispers something to Paul McGrath, and then it seems to be going down the line, and I'm thinking...
Like a sort of Chinese whisper thing going along there.
Well, yeah, usually, like, when the captain sends a message down the line, it's like, keep it tight, don't give the ball away, don't do anything stupid. So I was thinking, like, you're not the brightest button in the box, so just listen to what's being said. So anyway, it got to Aldo, and I'm thinking, here we go, it's my turn. You've got to bear in mind, the national anthem's on, and, like, all the cameras are on you. And Aldo just leans across, and he goes, Row F, bird with the Viking hat. Look at the size of her knockers. And then he went to me, pass it on. Like that, right? So I've turned around, and obviously I've seen it, Roy, and I've gone, oh, no.
You've got to tell Roy.
I've said to Aldo, and I can't, it's Roy, and he went, just tell him, like that. So I leaned across to Roy, and I went, keep it tight, Roy, don't give the ball away, don't do anything stupid.
Well, you're giving Roy advice. How did Roy take? Did he look at you like, you mad? Number 21.
Number 21 it was, yeah.
No, do you know what I like is the fact that you actually thought to yourself, all right, you're not the brightest button in the box. Listen to this. I like the fact that a man has to think that to himself.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not that bright. Keep it going. Okay, focus up. Okay, I've got to ask you a couple of stories here. All you got to say is it's true or false, yeah?
Oh, okay,
True or false. We've got a couple of minutes for these. Are you ready? First of all, is the pizza story true?
False.
Just remind us what the pizza story is.
It weren't actually me. It was someone else. They went into a pizza shop and they said, "Can I have a pizza?" And he said, "Do you want to cut it into 4 or 8 slices?" And they said, "Cut it into 4. I'll never eat 8."
That's not true.
That's not true.
It's not me. It's not me. It's
Who
actually
is it?
Mark Kennedy.
It's actually who?
Mark Kennedy.
Mark Kennedy, thank you very much. Okay, what happened when you were with Neil Ruddock, another firm favourite on the show here? He's probably guest number 2.
He was great.
What happened when you were with Neil Ruddock and you met Jimmy White?
True or false, innit?
True or false? True or false?
That's true.
Did you shout 180?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Great. Do you know something? Anytime I see a snooker player, I'm going to just shout 180.
Johnny,
it's a great thing to shout.
Nicky
Someone tell
Beecroft said
that
Gazza
story
shouted
about
that at
Gazza.
Steve Davis.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
He probably did.
He probably did. It's a great thing to shout, and let's start that as a tradition. Okay.
Yes.
Did you once ask a teammate what to put in the box marked position in company when filling out an application form for a credit card?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, what did you say? Go on.
I filled it, name, put it in, address, put it in, and it said company, and I put Liverpool Football Club, and it said what position do you hold in the company, and I put wing back down.
I've got down here, I'm a central midfielder, but the boss is playing me at right wing back. It's the full entry.
Get all that in the box.
Someone's embellished it.
Okay, when ex-Bolton teammate Alan Thompson asked you to pass the tomato ketchup,
That was Robbie Fowler. False.
Is it false?
It was Robbie. It's a true story, but it was Robbie Fowler.
Go on then. What did he say?
I can't really remember this. Was it pasta sauce?
No, he said pass the tomato ketchup, and he said red or brown. Red or brown. Red or brown. Okay. Is it true you once? This is pathetic, isn't it? Okay. Is it true you once locked yourself out of your car? So you called the AA, who told you to open it with a coat hanger, but you returned with a wooden one.
Technically, that is true. But it weren't the AA, it was the police.
That's brilliant.
The police turned up. I'd locked myself out the car, and the police turned up, and I kind of knew the copper, and he said to me, go upstairs and get me a coat hanger. So I went upstairs and I thought, what does he want a coat hanger for? And I thought, he must want to put the window through, so I took him down a wooden coat hanger.
I thought he was going to put the window through. Listen, Jason McAteer, it's been
great.
Dave, it's been a pleasure to have Dave McAteer on the...
come back.
Please come back.
Absolutely
Outstanding. Outstanding human being.
We've got to get Disser on as well.
We've got to get Disser on as well. Jason, cheers, mate. Happy New Year. Have a good one.
Thanks, lads. Happy New Year.
We'll
I'm
speak to you
not
soon.
really that thick, you know.
I know you're not.
You're
Believe me,
right.
anyone who's capable of that sort of self-effacing humour simply cannot be. And
Genius.
also the power of the memory as well to remember every step.
Fantastic.
Jason McAteer on your warm-up. This is your warm-up in association with Capital One. We've had loads of these. We've got alternative jobs for people. This is a great one. This is John Obi Mikel sticking cherries on cakes at Mr. Kipling. And that's from Macca in Kingston. Thank you very much for that. It's a lovely one there. James, have you got anything
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Twitter?
I've got one here from a guy who's called himself Strength of a Weasel. He says, I always thought Sam Allardyce should have been a butcher with an empire of 3 shops that will be just doing okay.
A Dewhurst teddy boy.
He'd look great. Actually, it'd be a great surname for him. Sam Dewhurst. Allardyce.
We've not got any pork today.
Yeah, Allardyce and Son
that's
family.
a great
Allardyce and Son family butchers.
And really unhappy, bitter sons.
Rocket.
Who had to do all the work.
Who didn't go into the business.
That's right, didn't want to.
Actually,
yeah.
his daughter's quite interested. Yeah, right.
I've got one here from Johnny Manchester. Hi, fellas. If Anderson wasn't a footballer, he'd be an area assistant manager specialising in taste testing for McDonald's.
That's great. That's fine. I've got one here. Look, I'd swap Sam Allardyce for a pair of boxer shorts I got for Christmas. It seems a fair swap. They're both pants. That's Dan from Chingford. Clap him in,
That's
boys.
very good. I've got one from Tim who says, how
go
about
on.
Mr. Moyes for a chocolate teapot?
That's very good. That's excellent.
At Anaraki in UK. Wayne Rooney, alternative job, butcher's apprentice.
Yeah, I like that, yeah.
Steve Cottrell, Bristol City manager, this is from Whack in Tetbury. He said he'd make a great shepherd in a farm in Gloucestershire. I still say that Sir Alex Ferguson, I know we divide them into pilots and coach drivers, but for me, I would just love to one day walk into a bed and breakfast and have Mr. and Mrs. Sorry, Sir and Lady Ferguson there.
As the landlord.
It's only because I can just imagine him going, "We've taken the extra Crawford's shortbreads. Only leave 2 of those in there. Only leave 1 sachet of the Nescafe. They'll nick the hot chocolates."
Someone's gone in the heating cupboard and turned the heating back on. They found out a way to turn on the heating again. I did that in a B&B where the landlady kept switching the heating off, and I went and found the heating cupboard and turned it back on. She got really angry in the morning. In a B&B I was working up in Norwich.
You were working in a B&B?
No, I was working on a film crew, and they put us up in a B&B. His lips never touch when he talks.
His lips never
Someone's
touch
gone and turned on the heating again, you know.
Who keeps switching? Oh, sorry about everybody. Right, what are we meant to be doing now? Oh,
Back
I know.
in Black.
Let's have some refereeing news. We're back
Yes.
in black. It's on you, Gav.
It is.
Okay, Gav, you are back in black. Whew, God, it's hot in here today.
It's so hot.
Hang on a minute, I've got to take my jumper.
It reminds me of that old joke. I had lunch the other day with Charles Manson. Suddenly he turned round to me and said, "Is it hot in here or am I crazy?" Anyway, I don't know. I think
I
it
am
is hot in here.
sweating like
How many
a
layers
pig.
have you got on?
I've got a V-neck here, a shirt and a vest.
And a pirate scarf.
And a pirate scarf.
We've got
Gav, back in black.
Yeah, we've
First
got-
question up. Graham Poll.
Well, Graham Poll was talking this week about how he used to feel, and quote, a sense of relief when Man United played well and won when games he officiated. Because he said, I knew if they didn't win, there was every chance of seeing, and more importantly, hearing Ferguson and reading his comments about me. He said when he unleashed the hairdryer on a referee, there were inevitable headlines. So it had a pressure of its own.
I think Fergie is still I think he's starting to shape the way Moyes is playing mind games. I just say this because last night I was watching the sports news and I noticed that they said Rooney and Van Persie might well both be out for the game against Chelsea. And I suddenly thought, you know what? That definitely means both of them will be playing.
Yes.
Because later on I saw Van Persie, and that was a classic Fergie trick. Always bringing, like, if there was a Tuesday or Monday game and there was a big game the next Saturday,
Yeah.
it was always... Obviously, Rooney picked up a slight knock. We'll have to have a look at that. There was always a slight knock.
And we'll be looking for a strong performance from the referee, obviously.
Yeah. But Wayne's picked up a slight knock. And you knew they'd be playing the next week. He always used to do it with Rio Ferdinand, just to make people feel like, oh, Rio's not playing. That'll leave a bit of a gap in defence.
Apparently, in Patrick Barclay's biography of Fergie, he noted that Fergie would have a go at a ref, even if United had won and the ref hadn't made any mistakes,
Yeah.
he would find something to shout at the ref about just to keep him on his toes for next time.
But you start to wonder if this wasn't, really what his game was based on. Is he realised, above all managers, that the key man on the pitch is the referee?
George Graham used to do it. I sat
Yeah.
behind.
All managers do it to a degree.
Yeah, but I
don't
think
they?
Fergie really realised
The
it.
key to it as well is that the referees are. If a manager loses their temper with them these days, the ref doesn't have to worry because he knows the manager's probably going to get sacked within a year. There aren't any managers that stick around for so long, whereas everyone knew that Fergie was going to go when he wanted.
Gavin.
So they didn't want it to go on year after year.
I sat behind George Graham in the away dugout at Spurs when he was manager of Leeds,
Yeah.
and he spent the whole game. I'm not exaggerating. He spent the whole game shouting at the ref and doing the diving sort of hand movements and putting at Ginola.
Yeah.
The whole game just to get it
just to
into
get
the ref's
in his
head.
head.
Yeah.
Ginola was diving.
They're the key man on the pitch. Anyway, sorry, Gav. Let's go to Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah.
He's been fined.
He was fined £8,000. I just wanted to put it into perspective because a lot of people say, "Oh, he's had a £10,000 fine. That's nothing to him." I worked it out. A teacher on £30,000 a year, it's a £50 fine. That's the equivalent.
Let's clap that in, James. That's
the equivalent.
It's equivalent.
A teacher's been fined for
No,
criticising the
no.
referee.
He's saying according to the percentage of the wages.
David Moyes is apparently on roughly.
What? Yeah. Sorry,
David Moyes
sorry,
is-
James. I missed the irony. Go on.
David Moyes is apparently on roughly £5 million a year for his contract, and if he had a £10,000 fine, it would be the equivalent of a £50 fine for someone who earns £30,000 a year.
How about that?
So that's
I
quite
often worry
interesting.
about this with parking tickets.
That's
I always
still
think.
quite a lot.
Well, yeah, but it's not going to. It's not really going to ruin your day.
I think about this with parking fines. I think they should be means tested because it's not the same for some people. Anyway, sorry,
Very
I'm really
true,
sorry.
yeah.
It's an eighth of what they're left with after tax.
Yeah,
the teacher.
All right, James, but it was good at the stat. Don't deconstruct the stat. It was
No,
really,
exactly.
that was really
Go on, go on.
I'm saying that was really working for Gav.
It was
Well,
working.
I've got
Well, don't ruin it then.
But I just disagree. I think that's a lot of money
What, 50 quid?
for a teacher who takes home 20,000 a
Do
year.
they have
No, 30,000.
Yeah, but no, but
Oh, I
after
see,
tax,
after tax,
they got,
yeah.
they got
yeah.
400
James,
they got 400 quid a week.
Yeah.
I know, but James, we're not arguing about that. It's not that sort of show. He's just on an equivalent. We're not saying a teacher's been fined by the FA because you got completely lost in the whole what he's doing.
Can I say the other point? I didn't.
No,
we
you
didn't.
can't because
on
this is Gav's bit.
No, on Gavin's first point.
Yes.
He basically implied that Graham Poll was admitting that he wanted Manchester United to win.
Well, he didn't want them to win, but he was relieved if they did because he knew he wasn't going to get it in the
Go
year.
back to point one. You were at point two
That's
now.
a good point.
In fact,
Graham
now.
Poll is admitting he felt better
Yeah.
if Man United won.
Well,
that is not being impartial.
No, he felt relieved. He didn't say.
When I get relieved, I feel better.
Yeah, well, you're right. Maybe
Whoa,
Hey, and you know
come
that's
on,
going out the
James.
show.
Whoa.
And suddenly, James, I've got to tell you might hear a little gap in the show there because we've got a 5-second dump button and James has just said something absolutely obscene. Luckily, this is one story that will have a happy ending.
Well,
now,
we've heard two versions, haven't we?
what have I done? Okay.
Come on.
Well, I've got a great stat for referees with
We'll be
United.
the judge of that.
No, you check them out.
Okay.
Under Moyes, he's been charged this week because he said we're playing the refs as well as the opposition at the moment. Under Fergie, the number of bookings, Fergie got.
I love Fergie.
Under Fergie, they got 1.3 yellows per game under Fergie.
Did they?
They're getting 1.8 under Moyes. Reds, they're getting one every 27 games under Fergie, and at the moment under Moyes, they're getting one every 10 games.
Whoa.
It's quite a difference,
It's
isn't
a
it?
tale of the tape.
It is quite a difference. Yeah,
It's a massive
It's
difference.
because they're losing.
obviously, yeah.
His players have been dirty. It's not because the refs are against them. They're losing the
No,
matches,
no.
so they're
Exactly.
being dirtier.
Yeah,
It's dead
that's right.
simple.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
No, it's not just
It is.
about
No,
that.
it's partly that. But
It
you've got to
is.
say the influence of Fergie being at the biggest club in the country and being at.
But also,
You know.
it's where the fouls are taking place. If you ever watch
Yes.
Roy Keane would hit and put somebody down on the halfway line.
Not outside his own
Whereas
area,
the
yeah,
Man
yeah.
United players are now having to take the fouls
Yeah,
and
yeah.
put people out of the game nearer the attacking positions.
Okay, James, thank you very much. Particularly, though, the Woodman, thank you very much
No, thank
for
you.
I think, a very informative Back in Black.
Yeah,
and
it's
thank
great.
you very much for the compare and contrast statistic that so muddled James. Could I say, I was just listening to Pellegrino and Mourinho being interviewed last night
on television. They just had 2 different press conferences going on. And I was sitting there in front of the television, and I always try and imitate sort of sounds that are going on, like a sort of lyrebird in one of those David Attenborough documentaries about the Amazon jungle, where they sort of imitate chainsaws.
Those birds are amazing.
They are
aren't
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I try and do the same in front of the telly. And I was watching Mourinho with
Hang
this.
on, the birds imitate the chainsaws.
Chainsaws,
Yeah, I never heard that.
Cameras.
You've
Check
got
it
to
on
watch
YouTube.
It's
Check it on
amazing.
YouTube. It's
Lyrebirds.
lyrebirds. It's the most fantastic thing I've ever seen on a nature documentary.
That'd be good to get one of them.
Well,
Yeah.
in the studio, you've actually got them in the form of me and Gav. anyway, I was listening to Pellegrino and Mourinho. They've got exactly the same vocal range, exactly the same intonation. You get
A bit Russian.
I make a substitution, and the end is fantastic.
It's fantastic.
And then I was listening to Pellegrino, and he's virtually. Well, anyway, what I've done is I've created a new manager for you, who is Jose Pellegrino. So let's have a little listen here now to Jose Pellegrino. Here he is.
I try to manage the club and the players the way I think is the best way to play football.
So I think a very difficult match to win there, but I think we have a chance to win.
There's a lot of different ways to manage and a lot of...
There we go. It's the same man. They're the same man. They've got the same guy behind them doing the voice. That was the warm-up podcast for another week. What a terrific week. Jason McAteer.
I know. How
man.
good was he?
We've got to have him back.
He was so good we had him twice.
Well, James is right. We have got to have him back on the show.
Do you know what? When I asked Jason if he'd come on the show, he said to me, "Yeah, I'll be in Ireland, but like being in Ireland would stop us being able to ring him.
Right,
Yeah. It'll
Do you
be
think
an
that's gonna make a
overseas
difference?
call.
I'll be in Ireland, but if you wanna call us,
It'll be one of them trunk calls.
Don't you love the fact? I guess it's a bit like in London. People say, "I'm not." They describe him as a Cockney, and they go, "I'm not born in the sound of the Bow Bells."
Yeah.
It's just he says, "Actually, like I'm not a Scouser really. I'm from the Wirral.
I'm from the Whittle.
You know, I'm not a Scouser." Just how only they know that.
Yes.
Anyway,
There's
it's
a
not much of a
river in
point.
the
I know.
way.
There is a river in the way. Yeah, there is a river in the way. My mother's from Bootle. I gather that does definitely make her a Scouser.
There's a river way near where I live.
Is there?
Yeah.
Of course there is. You're on the Way Bridge.
That's right.
There we go. That was the warm-up. Welcome to the warm-up podcast. What another fine week. Great guest, Gary Neville.
Oh, what a guest.
if you like Man United, then you'll
Yeah.
like that. He
Or if
talks
you like-
about what he thinks about David Moyes.
He does, and
does.
that's quite an exclusive on that.
It is, yeah.
He wouldn't be drawn on me saying that Bobby Charlton and Fergie just interfere all the time, which I know they do. I know he's
Standing in
lying.
the background like the penguin in Wallace and Gromit.
It was as Chelsea, Arsenal, and Leeds fans,
Staring.
it was unexpectedly entertaining to talk to.
Oh
Gary Neville.
man, why did you say that on the show?
I forgot.
Alex Ferguson is like the penguin in Wallace and Gromit. He stands there in the background,
Just standing
just-
on a look and having a
Gav,
look.
That's all a media thing that he's interfering and he's over his shoulder. Because actually, if you think you're going to take on a big job and your mates recommended you for it, it's good to have him in the background to ask advice. It's just all media perception.
Do you know what you just confirmed? You have nothing to say on a range of issues. Here's the podcast. Good morning, welcome to the warm-up in association with Capital One. I'm Johnny Vaughan on the day when Jose Mourinho claims that Man United are ready to sell Wayne Rooney in the summer. Illegal substitution? This is fantastic. And Brendan Rodgers believes that Liverpool captain Steven Gerrard could play until he's 60. Liverpool's home game... weirdly, it's written down from here. It says Liverpool's home game at home against Villa is live on TalkSport today at 5:30. That's Liverpool's home game, which is taking place at home against Villa. Warming up alongside me, as usual. Nice. You try and do that off mic, James.
I'm just trying to get in first.
No, but someone might really have this turned up in their car, and that might have really done the woofers. Imagine the underseat bass. Warming up alongside me, armed only with weapons-grade waffle. Ladies and gentlemen, the whistleblower, Gavin Woods.
Morning, Johnny.
And armed only with depleted inanium.
And in hard need of a miesta.
How long did it take you to write that?
I'll just write that now.
Depleted inanium.
That's what we are. Elementally, that's what we produce. Inanium. Anyway, this is weapons grade waffle, depleted inanium. The Printrepreneur, James Brown, is with us. Morning, lads. As usual, you know, I like to start off with a little bit of stuff. Just a few things I've observed.
Yes.
First of all, it seems weird just to go with the tennis that's happening at the moment. Can I just say, Nadal, just leave your butt crack alone. I really respect everyone, golfers, everyone who's got their little rituals.
Yes.
But his thing of picking his shorts,
untweaking his shorts.
Either Nike give him a nappy, who's his sponsor there, but just do something. But he just, before everything, he's always fingering with his butt crack and just sort of pulling his things out, and that would really make me disinclined to shake his hand at the end of the game. But also,
would it destroy your enjoyment if it was a woman?
What? But no, I don't even like watching women pick their pants out their butt cracks either, James. But it's interesting you say that because yesterday I was watching Serena Williams versus Herchkova, and there was a moment when the commentary lady. Who's having a slight South African accent. What's your vibe today? She said, "What's your vibe? What's your vibe here?" She said, she goes, she says, Serena had she said Serena has a huge ass pack wrapped around her neck.
Ass pack?
Yeah. I'm going to say she meant ice pack. Yeah. It did throw me for a bit because they cut to quite a body shot.
Ass pack.
I don't want to go in, all body for the start here. But she goes, Serena had a huge ass pack wrapped round her neck to cool her down. I'm thinking that's an image.
It is.
It really is. Two massive great butt cheeks on her neck just to cool it. Frozen butt cheeks. Anyway, it's quite an image, isn't it? But anyway, it wasn't. It was a huge ice pack, not ass pack. Very, very different. The other thing I wanted to say, this is on our all sport roundup before we get into the substance of football for which we warm up. I was watching a thing yesterday with all these Formula One team executives, the different teams like McLaren people, and they all look so clean and tidy, don't they? Really fastidiously tidy. But like the cycling mob, I just want to know if you know any of them. Do they all have bad breath? They've all got that sort of office worker, clean, really clipped fingernail, kind of bad breathy look. I just want to know if you've met any of them.
Well, a few times I went with the Jordan team to Grand Prix.
Did they have bad breath?
I've met Ron Dennis once.
No, but what I remember is that the guy, not Eddie Jordan, the guy who ran it with him, had massive ears.
Okay.
They were enormous. I was thinking that could be dangerous at the Grand Prix.
Could be.
The speed that those cars go past.
Yeah.
Get a draft
in your ears.
I found the Grand Prix was best, especially if you're hungover, to just watch from out the back.
Oh, it's a great.
To just listen. If you listen to it's the sound of millionaires screaming. That's what it is.
Hey, do you know what? That's almost a phrase that pays. I don't know how long it's taken you. I suspect you've been working on that all night.
I wrote that in 1998.
Did you? I was going to say it sounded like old shtick. I'd like to see outside a pad of paper with just lots of old millionaires shouting, wealthy people screaming, just all written in crayon until you got to the right one.
But in the hospitality there, people. You remember Roy Keane famously complained about the hospitality class.
The prawn sandwich.
He didn't actually say that.
No,
that was a journalist put that in. But if you got the Grand Prix and you go into, I forget what it's called, basically the VIP lounge, which is massive, because everyone at the hospitality.
Sorry, James, I know what they are.
Yeah, you know it's
start telling us about this world you live in.
No, I'm explaining what's going on there.
Well, many of our listeners
massive banquet of champagne. Yeah. It's just the finest food known to man. You don't want to go in there with a hangover. It's wasted.
Is it? Yeah. Okay, or you'll get wasted. Do you know what? What are you warming up for today, James?
Well, earlier in the week, I was watching the Man City game, the Blackburn in the Cup, and I referred to Pellegrini as old Pellegrini. No,
yes, sorry.
But anyway, so Pellegrino. What is his name? Is it Pellegrini or Pellegrino?
Pellegrini.
This bloke on Twitter started picking me up, saying I was spelling it wrong. So it made me think. I wonder how many. Wonder if you could get a pub or off licence full of footballers who've got names like drinks.
Okay.
Robin Van Persie. So we started this last night on @TS Warm Up, and we'll be reading a few of them out. There's some absolute corkers.
There's only one football player I can think of who's actually they've named a TV show after. in history.
I know what that is. He's a Chelsea fullback, isn't he?
Are you talking about Dan Petrescu? It's an old joke. Gav, what are you warming up for today, matey?
I'm warming up for my own game.
What's your vibe today, Gav?
Tomorrow, the big game, the Chelsea Man U game.
Oh,
that's going to be so exciting.
And the thing is, I hate to say this, and this is one of these awful moments, and I'd like to ask you about this as well. This is club versus family. It's my sister's 50th tomorrow. And for some reason... it's my sister's birthday today, but she's having her 50th birthday tomorrow.
How old is she?
She's playing at home. She'll be at home to Villa. Different muddle up. Anyway, but it's on there. My mum has, for some reason, decided to organise a Sunday lunch. And I suddenly realised it's really nice because it's the only time
during the game, yeah.
Yeah, so I've now got to drive up miles out of London to go and see them.
Can I ask you a question? Your family live in the Midlands?
They live in Rutland, yeah. They moved up there.
Why didn't you support Leicester growing up?
Because I was born in Barnet in North London, and I just started, so that's when your club takes, doesn't it?
But did you never have an interest? Because Leicester had quite a good team, probably in the 70s. I'm not trying to catch you out. I just wondered that whether you'd had any inclination towards that time.
If anything, funnily enough, I used to go to Forest quite a bit.
Okay.
Because my dad's the factory my dad was at had 2 season tickets, which occasionally used to get.
Was that the Clough era? Or?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So I used to be able to go and see those things. But thank you for asking me about me, James.
It's just that you rarely get to talk about yourself.
I very rarely talk about myself, yeah. But anyways, my sister. But I just want to ask you out there on text, and all the details will be coming up in a second. When have you had one of those moments? And a lot of people have taken but when have you not gone to something and you sort of thought?
Well, it's something really important, like a wedding, you mean?
Yeah. What have you actually? I'm not interested in people with radios on or people that have had televisions there for the in the chat in the church to watch a game, and you hear all these stories. I want to hear from people who've actually just said no.
Yeah, I'm going.
No,
I'm not going.
I'm going to the game. Yeah,
yeah. That's
and if they feel guilty, how they've dealt with it, how they've resolved that. So I don't want to hear about the near misses. The ones who go, I remember someone in the back of the church had like an earphone in and they were listening to the... No, I don't want any of that wacky crap stuff. What I want is people who've actually really said no. And I remember there's a friend of mine got married and it was on an FA Cup final and actually very few people turned up. And not only that, they were actually cross with him. It was his fault.
For scheduling it
Why did you do it then?
I got that this year. I've been invited to a wedding on FA Cup final day. It's of no... You could book a wedding for the next 10 FA Cup final days. It's not going to affect what Leeds are doing.
I think you can do it on any Saturday with Leeds United, yeah.
On any given Saturday.
We could not believe, because, OK, we are not playing...
Hey, we're on this morning.
We are not playing well this morning, but... all the same, Leeds United, you cannot count us out of an FA Cup final, and that man was out of order to do that. Last point here, just before we give you all the details to text in on, and as I say, I want people who've missed events. James, is it true this week?
No, it's not. Hey, look, the biathlon's on Eurosport if you want something different.
Okay,
it's true, it's not worth bringing up.
Coming up.
It's not worth bringing up.
Who do you think James was mistaken for?
Yeah, exactly. Who do you think James was mistaken?
To be fair, this was somebody who lives in the street.
Would you stop coughing at the microphone, you wheezing old northerner?
This is, you can't,
It's just dreadful.
It was not a credible witness.
Sorry, Vonnie, I've got chest weasels. I've got the chest weasels. I've got chest weasels from the death I was every smoker, and I've given out up, and I've just...
Anyway, we're back in a second. Who did James get mistaken for? You'll be finding that out. I want the people that have actually missed weddings for football games. Who actually said no. You know what?
Said no.
No.
Yeah.
That's all coming up.
Don't be shy. Join the proceedings by calling the show on 08717 223344. Email us via talksport.com, or you can tweet us at DS Warmup or text us at 81089. 50 people, that's normal sending charges apply.
It's not appropriate. That's not appropriate music, although I admire you for doing that.
It's fairly appropriate.
Well, yeah, okay, fair enough. How are you, Gary? You all right, matey?
I'm good, thanks. What was the title of that soundtrack?
Somebody's going to get their ass kicked.
Somebody's going to get their ass kicked. It's actually...
not ankle.
It's not ankle, no. It's a WWE theme, one of my favourites. Tell us a bit about what you've been up to today.
We're just down here at Hough End Playing Fields in Manchester. There's myself, Gary Pallister, Martin Keown, Eric Harrison. We're just doing a session with a group of young kids for the McDonald's community programme, which basically just rewards the volunteers and the the coaches really who give up the time.
Are you seeing a softer side of Keown there? I'm just interested to see. I'm just interested to think of him with the young.
He's very softly spoken, Keown. He looks like a caveman, but he talks very intelligently.
Oh, okay, thanks. Okay, I just don't want to frighten the kids, or the kids to say, "I want that man to take the mask off." No, that's his face. Go on.
I'm glad he's outside and not listening to you. He might come and get you.
Yeah, well, you tell him from me. I don't like his face. Shut your noise. James.
Gary, James Brown here, Leeds United fan. What's it feel like now that you've got Leeds fans, Man City fans, Liverpool fans coming up and saying they really like you on the telly?
Oh, yeah.
How does that feel?
I've not had too many Leeds fans.
What about Liverpool fans?
Yeah, look, I think to be fair, we all. I mean, obviously, when you retire, you calm down a little bit, don't you? And I think that obviously being on television, people have sort of thought, well, he isn't as bad as I thought. I think that's probably as good as I'm going to get. I don't think they liked me. I think I'm not as bad as they thought I was.
Do you know, I couldn't believe at the Sports Personality of the Year awards this year, when Alex Ferguson, it took place in Leeds, and Alex Ferguson came on. He goes, in fact, normally when I'm in Leeds, I don't get a round of applause. And do you know what they did? They all started booing. I was thinking, good lads, that's
he's like the pantomime villain.
I know, but they weren't doing it in that way. They cut to their faces and their mouths are like slits of hate.
Gary, is it true that in Fergie's office at the Man United training camp that he had a big picture of Billy Bremner on the wall with Dave Mackay grabbing him by the throat?
I don't remember that. Is that a myth? I mean,
I've seen a photograph of him. I've seen a photograph of him in there with his picture of Bremner.
Right, okay, he may have done.
I know it might sound like a bit of a shallow question, but what is he like? That's Sir Alex. What's he actually like to sort of hang around? What's he like?
To hang around.
Just to hang around, yeah.
Don't hang around. He's not like they go down the streets with him.
No, but say if you find yourself, how would you start making conversation?
He wasn't really somebody that hung around. He was always the boss. So to be fair, it was a case of trying not to hang around him as much as you could and stay out of his way.
No, but have you ever found yourself having to, like, I don't know, you might have been in a lift, you might have been on a coach and so on, but did you ever find yourself having to sort of make conversation with him? And what would you say? What sort of thing would you say?
Well, it was never a problem. I mean, I joined United at the age of 11, so I'd sort of known him for 20 years. I suppose when I was a young kid, there was that trepidation when you were obviously in his company, but obviously as you got older, then you know it was fine because obviously you've been around a long time.
Is he very frightening though?
I don't think he is. I mean, people talk about the hairdryer and all the rest of it, but really the idea that you can manage Manchester United by shouting for 25 years really just. It's naive that people would think that. I would say probably 2-3 times a season he would lose his temper in the dressing room in a big way, but that would be in the big games if we weren't doing as well as we should have done.
Have you ever seen it kick off between him and Keane? Have you ever seen them have an argument?
Not particularly, no.
Would you pay to on pay-per-view television?
I would.
Keane, Fergie, live.
UFC. Gary, can I ask you about that recent documentary that they did with Keane and Vieira? Did you watch that?
I didn't know. I was actually out on a England staff Christmas do that, and I heard about it.
Oh, right, okay. All right, well, I can't really ask you. You should watch it. It's fascinating. Is Roy as bad as he makes out?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that's the thing with media, and obviously I'm in the media. The perception of people is never really as they are. And you mentioned before about people saying, "Oh, people come up to you and say that you're okay now," and that's because probably they get to know you a lot more. And I think that's the problem with all football players, really. Sort of. Footballers in general get their reputations made for them by the media, but the fact of the matter is when you talk with people and get to know them, they're always very different. I mean, I'm sat here this morning talking to Martin Keown. If you said to me 10 years ago, I'd be sat here having a cup of coffee with Martin Keown having a gentle conversation, I said, you're mad.
I know. If you told me 10 years ago I'd be sitting and have a friendly conversation with you, I'd said you're mad. And me. I couldn't stand you. I couldn't stand any of the men. No, I'm only kidding. But were you there that time when I was shaking everyone's hand down in that car park?
I'm not going to remember that.
Sorry. You might do because Roy Keane was really
Gary, your first words, I think, when you went on to Sky as the analyst was, I bet you didn't expect this, to Mancini, wasn't it? You looked surprised. I think he was the first interview you did.
Right.
He was, and to be fair, it wasn't a very good one when I look back now. I mean, I was absolutely shaking like a leaf on that first Monday Night Football. I mean, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I had people shouting things in my ear like you guys have probably got now, saying you've got 10 seconds, 9 seconds.
Yeah.
Ed asking me questions, and they had this big contraption of a digital tablet that I had to try and work at the same time. And to be fair, I'm not a great multitasker, but that really tested me out that night. It it all happened a little bit too fast for me.
Can I just ask you? Sorry, I was not going to ask you. I'm interviewing you. For years on British television, I felt it was dominated a little bit by former Liverpool players as pundits.
Yeah.
Still is.
Yeah, it is,
Still
yeah.
is, yeah.
And one of those things that used to always annoy me, and I say this now Mickey's gone and everything, but I say is that they always seem disinclined to sort of to be cynical about people or to be critical about people they'd work with. How do you feel sometimes when you've got lots of ex-colleagues, lots of ex-teammates who are managing, still playing? How do you weigh that up about sort of them taking it personally, about you just being honest and being a pundit? How does it get in the way ever and affect it? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I absolutely know what you mean. I think every person that goes in from football into punditry has that same issue, that they end up commentating or analysing players who they've either known or play with. And the fact of the matter is, it's not easy. It's not an easy part of the job. But the thing is, as long as you keep it to football and keep it professional. And there are a couple of times in the last 3 years where I thought after shows or after games, I thought I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
A word comes out wrong, and you think that was bad, that was wrong. The fact of the matter is we're all in the same position. I think as long as you try and be as honest as you can.
I get that, Gary. For instance, in what I do, which someone would say, what is that? I'm never rude about. I try not to ever. I've never been rude in the papers or anything about anyone else who does my job. But now you're doing a different job, so I guess it's sort of permissible.
No, but I think that's important what you just said there, because I mean, in terms of there are other analysts and other pundits, I would never comment at all on any of them in terms of how they go about analysing football. Yeah. But I think what I would say is that I think football players now are becoming a lot more understanding that the more jobs there are in the media when you finish, that even footballers accept that, look, they've got a job to do, and as long as you do it correctly and you get it right more often than not, then they'll understand it, because they'll probably end up more often than not going into the media themselves. So I don't think they cut themselves off.
I'll tell you something I think has made a big difference in the eras between the old Liverpool pundit era and now, is I think you lot are much more financially independent, and I think people used to depend much more on their old clubs for testimonials, for going off to do, not for testimonials, but for going off to do hospitality, speeches. They're a lot more dependent on it. Like you still, round at Chelsea, you see the mob there who are sort of ex-players who do it.
The mob? You call your heroes the mob?
All right, the crew. Shut your noise! I think it's because you're all so loaded, you don't really care anymore.
Well, maybe. I've got Chelsea. I've got Chelsea United tomorrow, and obviously I'm a United fan. You'll know that.
Yeah.
I'm like most United fans going to that game, thinking, how's this going to go? It probably isn't. There's a good chance it might not go that well if it's been going like it has been this season. But for 90 minutes, I will just switch off and literally just say, if they're playing badly, they're having a shocker. And if they're playing well, they're playing well.
No, but do you know what? If I was in your game, I find it much easier to slag off my own team than any other. Because when they let you down, you really feel it, and you really do get personal. There's no one. I mean, literally, there's no one I think we've ever played that I've been as hard on as I have with some Chelsea players when they mess up. So I would imagine, as a Man United fan, it probably it's slightly as a very, very wealthy ex-Man United player and a superb, a financially very, very secure man who is not reliant on anyone. So there's none of that Liverpool business going on like there used to be. Not only are you very wealthy, you're very passionate about United. I would imagine as a hugely wealthy individual. Sorry, I'm going to stop now. No, but I'd imagine you find it very easy to be honest.
Well, I find it easy to say it as it is in terms of if there's mistakes made or if not playing well. I find it easy. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know any United fans who this season are turning around and saying we're playing great football. So to be honest with you, for me to say it, I'm only one of another, hundreds of thousands. So like you said, it's the same with Liverpool or Chelsea or Manchester City. If they're playing well, I mean, this season at the moment, City look to me like absolute certainties for the title. I mean, Chelsea, I suppose the one team that I think could stop them at this moment in time. I think Arsenal have done brilliantly. I just think that maybe they'll fall short unless they go and sign a striker in the next couple of weeks.
I think the squad isn't quite big enough or strengthened depth.
It's just not quite. And to be fair, if you were saying to me who do I want to win it if United don't win it, it would be Arsenal. But I just don't think they're quite there to be able to win it this season. Now, I might be wrong.
Gary, any predictions for tomorrow?
Do you want the United fan or do you want the?
Go on, what's the United? Well, no, this is a lovely. It's a lovely dichotomy. What's Gary Neville, very wealthy United fan, saying?
If you said to me as a United fan, which club will break Mourinho's Stamford Bridge record, it would be United, because there's a type of club that can do it. That have got the actual. They tend to do those things over the years. If you're asking me at the moment, both teams playing as I've seen them in the last few weeks, I think the United to come out of there with a point would be a great result.
Okay, that's nice. And last question: how much? Just a real quickie. How much influence is Fergie still having at United over Moyes? I don't know if you want to answer that or not, but I was just wondering, because you know the word of the camp. How much is Fergie still? Because I wonder if that might be obstructing Moyes a little bit from his plan, having him upstairs, a bit like Bobby Charlton poking his nose in all the time, which he does, interfering old sod.
That's extremely harsh.
It's not. Come on, come on. He's part of the old firm.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I look at sort of the great football clubs like Barcelona or Bayern Munich, you've got Beckenbauer and you've got Rummenigge in the stands, or you've got all these great clubs have these sort of past legends in the stand. They are,
but they're not like Sir Alex here. How much? What I'm saying is, how much is he undermining Moyes? Do you think?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, absolutely not. No way.
He doesn't need to.
I reckon he is. I reckon he really is.
Gary, can I quickly ask you?
I tell you what, you guys are at best mischievous.
Gary,
at best.
Gary, one very quick question before we go. Are you happy with how David Moyes is managing your club?
As a fan, and this is as a United
as a fan, not a Sky pundit.
I think that's plainly obvious that he's taking time to get used to the football club, and that the football club's getting used to actually not having Sir Alex Ferguson around. But do I think they've got the right man? 100%. I said that from day one, and he will be given the time to be able to put, what's happened in this last few months right. I mean, if they were to get to the Capital One Cup final on Wednesday, that would be a big moment for him, because he has an opportunity against Manchester City to, obviously he could lose the final, but he has an opportunity to win a trophy in his first season. I think that really Champions League football, and to try and win the Capital One Cup would be, I would say, success this season, considering the start that they've had, which has been really poor in the league.
Where do you think they'll finish?
I think they'll just get into Champions League.
Okay.
I think Van Persie and Rooney will get fit, and when they do get fit, they'll prove that they're still, in terms of partnership, probably the most clinical and ruthless when it comes to actually scoring goals. If you look at sort of the last 2 or 3 years, they've been the men in terms of players who've sort of contributed most of their teams in goals and assists. So they just need to get those two fit. That's a big factor, actually.
Okay, listen, Gary, I'm not really particularly a betting man, but I'll have you a tenner Man United finish 7th.
Gary, I'll have you £100 they don't make the Champions League, no problem.
Do you want to take the tenner? Do you want to take the tenner off me?
Was that the Leeds fan?
Yeah. Nice. Put him in his place. That's lovely.
Okay.
Can we say we've gone way over? But you know what? But you know what? As a footballer, never like you. As a pundit, though, you're tremendously engaging, and you are. And I've got to tell you, Gary, you're far too sexual, and you look like a mod. And thank you very much. And also, so does your brother, and so does Southgate. You should all get scooters and just go to Brighton every day. See you later, matey. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.
I'm Johnny Vaughan. On the day when I'm not saying the Guardian's lost its way, but on the front page today, Teddy's reunited. Cuddly toys coming back to their owners.
Nice.
Good journalism.
Heartwarming stuff.
Yeah, great.
That's a bit like when
mind you, I'm going to be reading it. So there you go. They've won.
That's like when Big Sam signs Nolan.
What, every
players
club he
that
ever
come back
goes
to their owners. Or Warnock always signs Paddy Kenny. He's his teddy bear.
Do you know what I suddenly realised about Talk Sport as I looked at, as you look around the walls at the
we were discussing what we can't discuss.
What we can't discuss. But I was looking, we can't discuss things because there's so many scandals involving the presenters here. And let me tell you, I've got a bit of a rep. I was looking around the walls at all the photographs. Yeah?
The alumni.
Yeah, well, they must put numbers underneath them and a height thing. But I said
wanted,
or just have the whole Talk Sport team just like the usual suspects poster.
That's a good idea.
Seriously, just have them all there. And I tell you what, our producer there, I would suspect is the sort of Kaiser.
He's looking very nervous.
His hands hovering over the
all
dump
I would say is I'm not saying Talk Sport's the end of the line,
for any presenter. But when my agent, I had to make a decision between a couple of things, and my agent said TalkSport, and I started listening to quite a lot of TalkSport. I said, and then I suddenly thought to myself, by going to TalkSport, it's sort of like, in terms of your media career, it's like you just ended up in a betting shop, isn't it? called something like Jerry Stanley Racing. Not even one of the main ones. One of those regional ones in quite a bad area.
Yeah, but you've had actually loads of people like being in the betting shop.
Yeah, no, a lot. Yeah, well, they do. They do, don't they?
I seen a betting shop in Hammersmith a load of years ago that had a cafe in it.
Really? Nice.
And they you know, remember they first allowed the windows to be open?
Yes.
Not covered in massive, old, out-of-date pictures of, like, Kevin Ratcliffe v Ian Rush in the wrong kits.
yeah, but you know why they have to do that? Because they haven't got the sponsorship for current footballers. So still you get a great big new picture in like a and it'll still have Gary Lineker heading it, and you think, yeah, I'm going to bet on Gary today.
Glenn Hyson battling with Gary Lineker.
Yeah. John Walk holding off. Yeah, but they
Fash v Trevor Cherry.
yeah. I'll bet on that, please. Anyway, it is. I sort of sometimes. I don't get down, but I sometimes think, it is a bit like I see it. I've it's a sort of with like sort of a few sort of Jamaican guys ripping up betting slips in one of those sort of betting shops. Sort of going, just kissing their teeth and just. Anyway, Gav, it's time for Back in Black. Do you like that gap, incidentally? Time for Back in Black. Pause. Bang. Music. Yeah. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's like,
I like it.
It's like get down, Slick.
Let's get it on.
Yeah, get down, Slick.
But you can see them playing. It's great. They were just getting ready to play.
Yeah, actually, we've got a live band in there. They're a tribute. Actually, some tribute band turn up every week. Gav, first up, I've got to talk to you about Raheem Sterling.
Yeah,
soft pen.
He was awarded a soft pen versus Stoke last week. Gary Neville said he was right to go down, and I get what he means. It's a professional thing. We
can ask Gary about it later.
We can, indeed. And I looked into the yellow cards for diving this season.
What are the stats?
There's been 12. Between United and Chelsea, who are playing each other tomorrow, they've got half of them. 6.
50% of dives have been Chelsea, Man United.
Yeah. Well,
good statistics.
Man United had 4. Chelsea have had 2.
Is it all Ashley Young and Oscar?
Januzaj, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So it's about 3 players.
But my point with this one was managers always say, publicly, they say, well, we don't want to see that at our club. Yeah. But my question would be, would a manager give a hairdryer for not going down?
I think they would.
And I think they would, and I think they have.
I think they have done. They've admitted it.
So it's a little bit, dishonest of the managers to say it.
You know what? If they just... The reason I'm getting so many of these diving problems, Gavin and I were talking about this earlier. Is that
were you, though? Or did you just...
No, we really were.
Because sometimes he does that
we really were.
Shut
your noise.
Shut your noise, Vaughan.
Shut your row.
But the point I was making is that because they've brought all these laws that says you can't have any form of contact, people are diving.
Well, you can have contact, you just can't come in from behind. They've changed the rules, you're right. You can't
but he didn't come in from behind. He brushed past him and he went over his thigh.
Absolutely.
If they stop being so pedantic about when two brushed his thigh, if two players...
He brushed past him,
when
he went
two
over his
players
thigh.
come together...
Yes.
No, but if they stop being so pedantic about physical contact, you wouldn't have this diving.
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
Well, it's exactly my rules, but exactly the way I see with LBW in cricket. Just take away the leg pads.
And then it wouldn't be an issue.
If you're stupid enough to get your leg in front of it, good on you. Just good on you.
God, that would hurt.
Good on you.
Cricket ball on the shin.
That's how it used to be. As soon as you introduce pads, you get these people coming right down with the bat in the air, just pompously putting the pad in the way. But take away the pads, no LBW problem. If you're going to stick your leg there... Wait a second, he brushed past him and went over his thigh. Is that what happened? Leeds United. Helen stood naked in the half-light. He brushed past her and went over his thigh.
Johnny, it's an age thing as well. It's like, it must be like really old blokes who remember when you could clatter the goalie into the back of the net. When you see nobody hitting the goalie.
Take him and the ball.
I genuinely, whether I'm watching like kids play football or the team of support or anything, I get really frustrated when they give yellow cards and free kicks for just people like smashing into each other. It's rubbish.
I know, but you don't want to get down that old school route, James, where you get.
I think you do. I think you do. I disagree with you.
When people start going, I tell you what, mate, in my day, I remember Tommy Smith and a player came at him. He literally went to the ref, he got an axe out of his bag, snapped him in half. He held the bloke down and he literally chopped his patella off and he's waved it to the crowd. The bloke's turned round, stuck his hand into his chest, ripped his still beating heart. He's thrown it at the goalie's head.
And all he got was a warning.
He said, and the referee has just gone, play on. And that's how it was. I've seen people literally break up a goalpost, run around and shove it through someone's...
And he got a gentle ticking off.
Yeah, and literally his managers give him the thumbs up as he dragged on his cigarette. Alan Pardew.
Yeah, Alan Pardew is going to punish himself publicly. But there was the Tiote goal disallowed. This goal was the perfect goal for a replay decision. A TV replay decision.
Yeah.
And I think we should just start talking about it as if it's going to happen.
Listen, it's so fast to do. It's not even...
They lost about a minute getting ready to kick off again because of all the arguing. It would have taken 5 seconds to allow that goal.
Listen, Gav.
But it's about
5
interpretation, isn't it?
seconds.
It's about... This isn't goal line.
Listen, I
It's not
watched that
goal
game.
line, it's interpretation
Newcastle
of the rules.
were playing really well, and City weren't killing them.
That's not
And
got
it,
nothing
and
to
it
do
would
with
have gone to 1-1.
It changed the way the game was.
game-changing decision.
That's
that
true,
was.
obviously.
James, you're being a bit
any goal.
serious today, and quite...
No, that's fair
No,
enough.
because I think... No,
picky.
no, Johnny,
you're being
I
a bit
think these are
picky.
good points
Yeah.
because how do we know whether that player wasn't catching the sight of the... he wasn't interfering with the concentration of Joe Hart?
Because they
we know
were
that?
4 yards to his left. He was looking for where the ball was, which when it got spanked into the corner really
Yeah, it was a
fast,
great goal. I
which
would
is
rather-
why it was a goal, not because
But in
he
the
couldn't
old
see
days,
it.
that was just offside. They were behind
No,
the
I know,
defender when
I
the
know.
ball was
I
played.
tell you what,
They've
in the old
changed
days...
No, but they've changed... Well, not like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever it was.
Yeah, when they changed it.
I was at a game once, similar thing happened. They ended up crucifying him on the crossbar properly with nails. And he stayed there for the whole game, and that's how the goal is
The
remained.
point is, we're having these big discussion points about goals that are and aren't allowed, penalties that are or aren't dives, simply because they're tinkering with the rules all the time.
I know.
If they've left the offside rule, then there wouldn't have been this discussion. Those two blokes would have been offside.
Do you know, there's a school of thought. I just think, why don't we just scrap offside?
Like they do in hockey.
Just don't. Let's. Why
They
have,
did do it, yeah.
Exactly.
And you
Too
don't
many
get,
rules.
And you don't get goal hangers in
Let's
hockey, apparently.
just not have. Yeah, it's different because you can only score within a certain area.
Right.
But let's just do away with offside. And if you want to stick a guy up who's just hanging around the goalie all the time, just hanging around and just literally just shadowing him, and it's a bit of an edgy game, then you've lost the play. Well, why have it?
Because
it would open up the midfield.
You're right.
Okay, Gav, refereeing errors from last season.
Yeah, last season we got some refereeing errors and how many the mistakes favoured or penalised your team. This is to do with it not evening out. It does not... Well, it does for one or two teams now and again. But last season, per game, each team had an amount of decisions that went either for or against them.
Yeah.
Some teams suffered and some teams benefited. Last season, for example, weirdly, Norwich had an average of 4 decisions go for them incorrectly, but they went for them in every game.
No.
Yeah, Man United had an average of 4.7. They were the highest.
Yeah, that figures.
Chelsea suffered. Chelsea had 0.39 of a decision every game going against them that was an error.
Everyone knows football. The media and the FA. It's got
0.39
of a decision. Yeah,
a third of a decision was wrong.
That's right. No, they had 169. They had 169 go for them and 180 go against them. So they were under. So yeah, it's very interesting. The other one was the teams that suffered: Liverpool minus 2.3 decisions, Arsenal minus 8 decisions per game.
I love that I knew you.
I was saving it up.
You're saving it up. Because Gav really hopes to start influencing football with that. Is any James the 0.39 of a decision? That's like my dad used to say when that was real dad humour, and you are a dad. When there used to be adverts for things, there was an advert for a car. I think it was the Allegro when it came out. And it went, the average family has 2.2 children.
Yeah,
and we used to think of this 0.2 of a child sitting
of a
between.
child, yeah.
Just an arm,
a stub of a child.
But I noticed that's now gone down to 1.6.
Has it?
For
It's
the average
changed
family
for the
in Britain.
nuclear family.
Yeah, the average family now has 1.6 children. So there we go. Do the math.
Where have they gone?
I don't know.
The other 0.6.
Exactly right. Where's that 0.6 of a child gone? So it's a brilliant question. If you know the answer, do give us a call.
Does that mean there's 0.6 more adults?
Yeah, exactly right.
Proportionately, yeah.
Oh, very good, James. Morning, gents. This is because it's my sister's 50th tomorrow, and I'm missing Chelsea United for it, and I need people to sort of.
Have you bought her a present?
Not yet, I'll do it this afternoon. Morning, gents. I missed 2 weddings, a 60th birthday party, and my school leavers party. My excuse, football is more important than anything.
What, all in one day?
He was busy.
That's Sean, the Wolves fan. And
I've got one from Ray, the Spurs fan.
Go on.
I didn't go to my sister's wedding in 2008, the weekend after we won the Carling Cup. I went to the final and wanted to see the team play after winning the cup, away at Birmingham, and we lost 4-0. I was back in time for the night do, though.
Nice. I love that. Well, basically, he's back in time for a free drink up.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a sacrifice. Hi, Johnny. I'm a Chelsea season ticket holder. It's my brother-in-law's 50th, and they're throwing a surprise lunch for him tomorrow. I won't give you a name, although I might have ruined it now already, but I like the fact he's done that. My wife said, don't even think about it. I'm going to leave my phone at home and watch the game when I get home. I suggest you do the same, mate. Come on, if you're on a coach going to a game, fuck it up, come on, more. It's a guilty pleasure, we're all allowed. Just keep it going throughout the show. I'd like that for a bed for a whole hour.
You prefer that one to...
Come on the coach, wave your hands like you just don't care. Actually, if we...
tight.
You can dip it down a little bit, but I'll be listening out for my favourite bit in the song. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Here's my favourite bit. You ready? Here it is. Turn it down.
Am I sexual?
Yeah. Am I sexual? Yeah. And then all his mates go, yeah.
What was the most ridiculous question I've ever been asked?
Yes, it is.
That was a highlight from earlier.
Am I sexual?
Yeah.
Is the most
Am I
ridiculous.
sexual?